iRacing.com is a sim racing game that combines a true-to-life racing experience with an online community of virtual racers from all over the globe. iRacing offers a multitude of officially licensed cars and tracks, laser scanned with millimeter accuracy. Their car models and mechanical systems are based on real-world physics and engineered in cooperation with manufacturers and race teams. iRacing's web-based interface allows members to compare stats and test drive any combination of car and track instantly. Their skill license system ranges from rookie to pro, ensuring members are always pitted against those with similar skill sets. Members are able to sign up for a weekly race series, compete in time trials, host a private race with friends, and participate in racing leagues created and run by the community. With over 60,000 members, iRacing works in partnership with renowned motorsport organizations like SRO Motorsports Group to deliver virtual races based on the real-life Blancpain GT series. iRacing's Blancpain Endurance Series features team racing, giving members the ability to build a team and participate in races ranging from 3 hours to 24 hours. Additional partners include NASCAR, IMSA, V8 Supercars, IndyCar, allowing members to race in their very own 24 hours of Spa, Bathurst 1000, Daytona 500, and many more. iRacing.com, delivering the most authentic racing experience short of getting into a real race car.
The iRacing.com Road Pro Series returns for another season, as round 1 will take place at the Autodromo José Carlos Pace, also known as Interlagos in Sao Paulo, Brazil. iRacing's laser scan version of the historic venue was first released on the 25th of January 2013, the third time it'll appear on the Road Pro Series schedule. The 4.3km circuit is one of 2 anti-clockwise racetracks on the calendar, containing 15 turns, 10 to the left and 5 to the right. The initially rising start-finish straight sees drivers climb to speeds of 305 km an hour before the track eventually dips into the first braking zone on the circuit. Turn 1 will be one of the best chances for overtaking, the corner taken at 124 km an hour. The difficult pit exit on the left-hand side of the racetrack runs parallel with the Turn 1 and 2 complex known as the Senna S, named after the late Ayrton Senna. Drivers will launch onto the second longest full throttle section on the racetrack, screaming through Turn 3, the Curva do Sol at 250 km an hour. This brings them onto the Reto Oposta as drivers exiting the pits rejoin the racetrack. Another great overtaking point on the circuit, as the straight allows the cars to reach 301 km an hour. Turns 4 and 5, the Descida do Lago, are taken at 172 and 246 km an hour respectively. Look out for drivers battling wheel to wheel here throughout the race. The drivers then streak up to the wonderful double apex right-hander of Turn 6, Ferradura, and Turn 7. Only the bravest of overtakes take place here, as the cars travel at a breathtaking 243 km an hour. On towards Turn 8, track limits allow racers to put all 4 wheels onto the curb to minimize track distance and achieve quicker lap times. iRacing's laser scan brilliance allows the undulation of the circuit to be simulated at a high standard, most evident through Turn 9, as the extreme camber of the corner grants drivers the ability to travel at 112 km an hour through its tight apex while they traverse through the infield segment. The slowest corner of the racetrack at Turn 10 is taken at 94 km an hour before drivers accelerate up to 229 km an hour through the difficult struggle for balance at Turn 11. Up next is one of the most vital corners on the racetrack, Yun Sao. The left-hander is taken at 208 km an hour and is critical to the speed drivers carry on to the main straight, the final full throttle section on the racetrack. The rapid pit entry is to the left for drivers to service their vehicles, otherwise continuing across the start-finish line to commence another lap. Stay tuned, we'll be back live after these messages.
Truex on the outside, contact made. 56 slides it into 4. Who's going to be at the stripe? Did even give it to Ryan Truex. Truex is your winner over Tandy.
The iRacing.com Road Pro Series is back for 2015. Did you miss it? It's live on RaceSpotTV and iRacingLive. It is going to be one entertaining season that will start here at Interlagos for round 1 of the 9-round series, which will go into the new year in 2016, concluding at the soon-to-be-released Nürburgring for iRacing on the 23rd of January. The Autodromo Jose Carlos Pace at Sao Paulo, Brazil, the 4.3-kilometer circuit, anti-clockwise with 15 turns, 10 to the left and 5 to the right, will challenge these new and upcoming racers for 71 laps of racing. Well, top 25 of the World Championship made it through and obtained that license. We're searching for the next 25 here over the next 9 rounds. It's going to be a very, very close field. Lots of names to talk about. We'll give you a rundown of that as the field goes on later today. We're currently in qualifying with 5 minutes left. And as we spoke about, the top 15 from Season 1 and Season 2 of the Grand Prix Series who finished, and those who finished outside of the top 25 in the World Championship are here, fighting for those final 25 World Championship licenses. Welcome everybody to the 2015 Road Pro Series. Johnny Simon in the commentary booth alongside Andrew Woodhouse and Hugo Luis broadcasting for us. And Andrew, we spoke about how close and competitive this series is going to be. I'm really nervous right now, and I'm really excited to see what some of these new names are going to be able to achieve.
Yeah, hi Johnny, welcome everybody. This is the fight for the big time. This is where it all boils down to for these guys. Are they going to stay in the World Championship from last year, or are they going to get into the World Championship, of course? And this is one of my favourite tracks as well. Interlagos, it's fast, it's flowing, it's got some very tricky infield sections as well, but this grid is going to be so close. You did mention it at the start. You know, anybody's game, this. Anybody's series, I think, Johnny. I mean, I don't know what your thoughts are on that. I mean, who do you think's going to come out on top?
There are a lot of names. I'm not going to name any individuals to show any bias, but there are a heck of a lot of names out here today. And currently, as we are in this qualifying session with 4 minutes and 17 seconds remaining, one man who's currently on top is Peter Berryman. And he's currently on top with a 1 minute 12.749. We're watching Riku Alatalo through turn 1 and 2. This is a man, Andrew, who when he practices, he is right up there. He had that pole position in the 2013 World Championship at Road Atlanta. Here he is at Interlagos. He had a very good race here in last year's Pro Series. Here he comes again. Loves this track with some practice. And maybe if he puts the effort into this season, he could be right up there for the championship, which is unknown at the moment to who can take those honours.
Yeah, Alatalo's a veteran. He knows what he's doing out there, and he knows the track extremely well. He's one of those guys who's, you know, he's got a fairly big name in sim racing, and I think if he can just put it all together over these 9 races, you know, he's got every chance in the world. And you know, Jonas Nukarinen as well, just behind him, another Finn. He's got a lot to prove because he's been known for some, as we see Alatalo there spinning off at the Yunchao. Nukarinen's been known for a bit of inconsistency, Johnny, so he's going to have to really dig down deep and actually to make sure he finishes these races.
Certainly does, as Mac Backham, the man we saw so much during the World Championship, just oh so close missed out on a World Championship license. Currently has pole position here with 2 minutes and 47 seconds remaining. Graham Carroll, another man who had a couple of races experience in the World Championship, Faring his way through the infield section on towards turn 10, the slowest corner on the racetrack. The car doesn't look too stable, but here he is joining Apex Racing UK, Andrew, a team you're very familiar with. And look at that, the struggle for balance through turn 11. We looked through it through our track preview just before the qualifying broadcast began. And once again, Graham is not stable with this car. Part of the reason is because of the new dynamic track implemented in iRacing. We saw it at Suzuka this year for the World Championship, the first Road Pro Series we're going to see it, and he aborts that lap. So you can see there, absolutely terrible lap for Graham Carroll. He's still in P3 though, and this is one of the two groups of qualifying. We'll merge the times later, but most of all, Michael Dinkel in P16, a man that has been rated to win this championship, is down the field, and he will not at the moment. He's still outside of the pits. He was going to start way down the field. He's not going to have time to finish his lap.
This is the beauty of the Road Pro Series, is that a lot of the guys who are coming up from the Class A, from the Grand Prix Series, this is the first time that we've ever seen them racing against a lot of the guys from the World Championship and comparing the times and seeing just where everybody sits. So for someone like Michael Dinkel, who, I've raced against him before as well, he's very, very good. But, some of these guys are going to have to up their game. They're going to see these times going in from everybody else, and they're going to get a bit of a shock, I think.
Here comes Marcus Caton across the start-finish straight, and he finishes his lap, does not get a time in with a minute remaining. Just trying to see who else is out there. Christian Tenahote and Fulvio Barazini in this group. Barazini right now coming close to Gunsao. And look at this, sweeping the car through. He needs a great time here. Currently scored in the 13th position with a 1 minute 13.327. A slight improvement will rise him up a few positions here. Minimizing the track distance, staying close to the wall. He crosses the line and he improves straight to P11. Great time there. And it goes to show, Andrew, we spoke about the track gripping up. A lot of these drivers not timing qualifying right, leaving early. I think they should have left it to the last second. And that's something the World Championship drivers learnt throughout the final rounds in 2015.
Yeah, and even with the track temperature being as hot as it is, you want as much grip and as much rubber to be laid down as possible before you go on your qualifying run. Let's not forget Barazini won a race in the World Championship as well, so he knows what he's doing. It's going to be difficult for him to actually be in this situation where he has to fight for his life and fight for this World Championship license. But, 11th place, we know that a lot can happen in this first corner here as well, down into the Senna S. It's very difficult. It gets very tight in there, Johnny, as well, between turns 1 and 3. So we could see a bit of a shake-up on the first lap.
We certainly will. Be very interesting to note as qualifying has concluded and we look at the results right now. Mac Backham taking the first pole position of the season with a 1 minute 12.701, half a tenth above Peter Berryman, who's improved quite a lot from the Grand Prix series earlier in the year. We're looking for those most improved drivers out here. So they share the front row, and then Graham Carroll and Rico Alatalo in 3rd and 4th. Yunus Nukarainen in 5th, the man with so much World Championship experience. Behind him, it's Yao Vaz, and then Marin Kolak in 7th. Cam Stark in 8th. Jorge Montañez in 9th. Riley Preston in 10th. The rest of the grid will appear on your screen. Some notable names down the order. We have Marcus Hamilton and Michael Dinkel sharing that 8th row of the grid in 15th and 16th. We'll keep our eyes on them throughout the race and see how they make their way up the order and try and garner a great result. And down the field, Fernando Guerrero rounding out the order for the PSR team. Obviously, these results will be merged with the second group, and we will look at the pole lap after a few messages. This has been qualifying all but wrapped up for the first round of the iRacing.com Road Pro Series for 2015. We hope you enjoyed it. We'll be back after these small messages. Do not leave us. Warm up, pole lap, and the race coming up next.
Nick Candy, what a move. Truex on the outside, contact made. 56 slides it into 4. Who's going to be into the stripe? Dead even, give it to Ryan Truex. Truex is your winner over Tandy.
Qualifying has concluded for the first round of the 2015 iRacing.com Road Pro Series, and it is Mac Backham for the Radicals Online team that takes the top step of pole position for the race upcoming in right around 10 to 15 minutes time. That lap ultra quick, a 1 minute 12.701, and we ride on board with the Radicals Online driver to view his onboard take on his rapid lap. What a lap from Mac Backham there, a 1 minute 12.701, and the man who impressed us so much throughout the year in the World Championship, Andrew, is proving his worth here again. He joins the team at Radicals Online. His teammate Jonas Nukkarainen there in 5th position. They're a team that need, and they're almost guaranteed to obtain that World Championship license, but the aim for them would definitely be to dominate this series, because confidence going into the World Championship for 2016 is vital, and they don't want to have to take part in the Pro Series in the future, if indeed that is the case. We've heard rumours about the licensing system changing. We're not sure if those are true, but so far Mac Backham proving his worth there in pole position.
Yeah, I mean, he's a favourite, and you know, in a lot of people's eyes, but the thing is, I think you need to do the first step. You need to get this license, you need to get through this series, and then, you know, worry about domination later. If the aim is get through this series, that is paramount for these guys, because otherwise, why are they here?
What I'm surprised about is the fact that Radicals are a little bit stronger here at Interlagos. They've struggled throughout the 2 rounds in the World Championship. Guys like Jeremy Bootloop hasn't fared as well as he always has. But Apex Racing is a team that's done the opposite. We had 3 of those cars in the World Championship in the top 10. Here's Peter Berryman right now in 2nd place, proving his worth again. Graham Carroll in 3rd, right behind him. Apex Racing UK, for some reason, I'm not sure if you have any internal info for us there, Andrew, but they're really good at Interlagos, and there must be some reason as to why they are so fast around here. I
think they're going to be really good, full stop. You know, not a lot of people know I'm one of the founders of that team, and you know, I know that the guys have been working really, really hard. It's a very good atmosphere that there is in the team. Very competitive. The team is better than it has been in a long time. Strength in depth is excellent. We've seen that in the World Championship. You know, Sebastian Job getting quite close to the front runners. And but the thing is, Interlagos is a funny track. It's an equaliser. it's one of those where the field spread isn't going to be too high. Benjamin and Carroll within a tenth of Backham. Backham, it's going to be interesting to see if he can actually break away, because it's all right getting a good start, but Interlagos, the slipstream is quite important, and it'd be interesting to see what the race pace is like from those guys. We know Alatalo is going to be good. We know Nukarin is going to be good. How Vaz is exactly the same, but how the Apex guy is going to go is the question.
Yeah, certainly. And talking about pit stops and whether Mac Backham will fuel himself short, go on a two-stop strategy, and we'll look at the pit windows as the race progresses in a few minutes' time for pre-race. Right now it's post-qualifying. Final thing before we head to another commercial break, Andrew, is the pole position lap from Mac Backham. Looking at it, very conservative from him. Maybe a slight wobble here and there, but it doesn't seem like he was pushing to the absolute limit, because when Mac Backham pushes to the limit, you can tell that the car is moving around, it's struggling, but it seemed to be very smooth. And I'm not sure if track temperature had a little bit to play there, because a 1 minute 12.7, the WCS pole time a month ago was a 1 minute 11.9. So maybe track conditions having a little bit to play, and maybe making the car a little bit easier to drive.
It didn't look too easy from where I was, but again, I'm not as good as these guys, and he did have a few little wobbles and struggle for traction out of the slow speed corners, especially at the last corner. He's fighting the car a little bit, but yeah, in all it looks smooth and it looked good. And again, the race pace is going to be key, and especially in these high temperatures, who's going to keep their tyres in good shape?
That is post-qualifying concluded for the 2015 iRacing.com Road Pro Series. A really exciting race coming up where we're heading into a little bit of an unknown. Who is going to come out on top for round one? And we know, will that set the tone for the rest of the season? Will this just be a little one race variant? It won't be the same for the next few rounds. That's something we'll look out for coming up in right around a few minutes time. Do not leave us. You're watching the 2015 iRacing.com Road Pro Series on iRacingLive and RaceSpotTV. The race coming up in a few minutes time. Do not leave us.
For iRacing to get Le Mans is huge. I mean, this is a unique event, a unique track where, half of the track is public roads, so you can never test on it, you never get experience on it, and it's 8 miles in length, 4-minute lap time in a GT car. So, even if you're here for an hour of testing, that's only 15 laps, and you're only going to see the corner 15 times that day. The first section going through the Dunlop area is pretty unique. It's got elevation change and off camber. Then you go down Mulsanne into the chicanes, and the straights are unbelievably long. It's a tricky track, and every year I've come here, this being my 4th year, you learn something new every time.
We've wanted to add Le Mans to iRacing for a long time, and we've really been working hard towards it for the last 5 years. But really, things only came together in the last week leading up to this race, so it was a real scramble to put everything together. The majority of Le Mans is public roads. So when they're preparing for the 24-hour race, it's really the only time that we can visit to laser scan and photograph the track so that we can recreate it in iRacing. We work closely with the ACO to get essentially exclusive access to the facility and everything that we needed to get the laser scanning and photographic reference that we need to create the track. We were very fortunate to be at Le Mans at the most important time of the year and gain that experience of being there. And we're going to really do the best we can to put that into our work and making sure that the Le Mans in iRacing is the best Le Mans, the most exciting and accurate recreation of the track possible.
iRacing.com is a sim racing game that combines a true-to-life racing experience with an online community of virtual racers from all over the globe. iRacing offers a multitude of officially licensed cars and tracks, laser scanned with millimeter accuracy. Their car models and mechanical systems are based on real-world physics and engineered in cooperation with manufacturers and race teams. iRacing's web-based interface allows members to compare stats and test drive any combination of car and track instantly. Their skill license system ranges from rookie to pro, ensuring members are always pitted against those with similar skill sets. Members are able to sign up for a weekly race series, compete in time trials, host a private race with friends, and participate in racing leagues created and run by the community. With over 60,000 members, iRacing works in partnership with renowned motorsport organizations like SRO Motorsports Group to deliver virtual races based on the real-life Blancpain GT series. iRacing's Blancpain Endurance Series features team racing, giving members the ability to build a team and participate in races ranging from 3 hours to 24 hours. Additional partners include NASCAR, IMSA, V8 Supercars, IndyCar, allowing members to race in their very own 24 hours of Spa, Bathurst 1000, Daytona 500, and many more. iRacing.com, delivering the most authentic racing experience short of getting into a real race car.
Simulated racing can be awesome, but it can also be kind of a free-for-all. Interestingly, auto racing faced the same problem in its earlier days. Whether it was on the back roads, the beaches, or the city streets, the racing was fun. But there was always a certain level of chaos and danger, until some folks came along and put some order to all of this. Stuff like official racetracks, regulations about weight and equipment, and enforcement of standards. That's what gave us high-speed excitement, fast-paced action, and photo finishes. That's when racing became racing. The guys over at iRacing.com have made the same transformation in the world of sim racing. Sure, they've got the most accurate tracks and realistic cars out there, but that's just the start. See, iRacing analyzes the performance and results of each driver in every race, so you can be sure you're always placed in races where the competition will be tight, and that those reckless drivers who ruin it for us all are kept in the pits. Not to mention that with over 45,000 active members already in their vast community, you can find races day and night, so you can always get in on the action. You can even join a league of your favorite series. And since updates are always automatic, you don't have to worry about software and can focus on the track. Zip up your fire suit and check out iRacing.
Welcome back to the 2015 iRacing.com Road Pro Series live on RaceSpotTV and iRacingLive. Warm-up about to conclude as we look at the grid for you for the upcoming first round of the season. Mac Backham takes pole position with a 1 minute 12.701. Yuta Saito, so combining the two group times, Yuta Saito joins him on the front row. That's one of the most surprising things we didn't expect coming into the first round. Incredible job by him. Peter Berryman in third place, joined by Michele Mancusi. Sushi in fourth place. Graham Carroll and Martin van Loosenhoorn shared that third row in the grid. Behind them, it's Riku Alatalo and Jonas Nukarainen in 7th and 8th. And Yalvaz and Marin Kolak round out the top 10. Down the order, we look at the rest of the field. Notably, towards the end of the field, you'll see Marcus Hamilton and Michael Dinkel just making the 34th and 35th position. Very, very close here, Andrew, before the start of the race. I don't know what you're going to expect into turn 1, but it's surely going to be very, very tight into those first few corners, the center S.
I'll just say one thing, 35 cars going into the first corner at Interlagos. Get your popcorn ready.
Certainly so, as the drivers prepare and wait for the lights to illuminate, disappear. Still waiting for a few drivers to head out onto the grid. We've waited oh so long, 12 months since the last iRacing.com Road Pro Series that Mitchell de Jong dominated. Here we go, new series, new drivers, and we go green at Interlagos. Great start from Mac Backham. Down the order, it's Martin van Loosenhoorn with an incredible start up into 4th place, but Mac Backham leads into that first corner ahead of Peter Berryman. Behind him, it is Graham Carroll, then Martin van Loosenhoorn. Apex Racing UK with an incredible start. Riku Alatalo's dropped down the order. He's in 7th position, so he's hasn't made too many places actually. In front of him, it's Yalvaz. Yuto Saito, though, has dropped down from 2nd to 5th. A horror start for him, Andrew, in the early stages.
Yeah, terrible start by Saito. Backham got a good initial getaway and then wasn't great in the second phase of the start, but obviously good enough to keep that lead, and he's going through the infield section now with Berryman gaining slightly on him, as we can see. Sorry.
Huge incident there. Oh, and a big spin in the middle.
Yuho Abe.
Oh, and Ames crashed as well, and Jorge Montañez has collected, I believe, is that Miguel Martin? So Miguel Martin out of the race, I believe. A few names here, Hamilton. Scrambling through the order. Michele Mancusi's dropped down to 8th. A big incident there. There we go at turn 9, Andrew, and that's not what you want to start off your Pro Series.
Montañez and I believe Barazini might have been involved as well. Kevin Siggy had to slow down quite a bit. But Yuho Abe definitely bore the brunt of that one. He ended up going up and over. But he's going to have to pit. He's still in the race, but he's going to have to come in. To be honest, suspension damage it looks like on that.
So Mac Backham leads after the end of the first lap ahead of Peter Berryman by 0.6 of a second. Graham Carroll in third place in front of Martin van Loozenhoorn. Apex Racing UK in second, third and fourth here, attacking the Radicals Online car of Mac Backham. Yuto Saito dropped 3 positions down to 5th. Yao Vazlo from 9th to 6th. Great start for him. Alatalo stayed even in P7, just defending from... Is that... Where's Alatalo? No, Alatalo's dropped down to 9th, so in the early stages of this lap, he's dropped more positions there, Andrew, and he's... Marin Kolak is right onto the gearbox as we watch this heading into turn 10. Alatalo has not had the best of starts. Very slow off the line, not made many positions, and here we go, Marin Kolak, a guy who's had many experience racing touring cars in the real world, bringing that fast speed into the sim racing universe.
Yeah, I believe a World Touring Car Championship driver a few years ago, and he's now attacking Alatalo down this long sort of kink section which makes up the main straight here at Interlagos. He's got the slipstream, and is he going to have a look into the Senna S? He has a look, Kolak, but decides not to try and make the move on Alatalo, but he will try if he can get a good exit out of turn 2 and run through turn 3 into the back straight and into the Ciudad del Lago. Maybe he's going to have a look there. How close can he get? Very close. Oh, not late enough on the brakes though, Johnny.
The problem for Marin Kolak is that Riku Alatalo is one of the best drivers out there racing wheel to wheel. If you're going to battle with anyone, you don't want it to be Riku Alatalo because it's going to be a struggle for Marin Kolak. And here we go right now. So Marin Kolak there, he's stayed even, started 10th, currently in 10th position. Alatalo dropped 2 from 7th to 9th. But yeah, big gainers throughout the field as well. Christian Tanaherte from 25th to 17th. Great start for him, but drivers out of the race already. Miguel Martin, we spoke about, and Jorge Montañez collecting each other there at turn 10. Kazuki Umeshima, Yuho Abe, and Yuho Abe's currently in the pits. Fulvio Barazzini down the auto. Kevin Siggy's had to enter the pit lane. This is not how you wanted to start your Pro Series, Andrew. We spoke about it. You want confidence heading into these 9-round series, and for some of these drivers who aren't definites to earn that World Championship license, already on the back foot in round 1.
It's the worst possible start. It's a nightmare. It's just what you don't want. And a couple of those Japanese drivers there, Abe and Umeshima, having troubles. And you can see about 3/4 of a second for Backham now, so he's slowly just edging away.
Sorry to cut you off, Andrew. Yuto Saito's been collected. He spun off the racetrack here at turn 4 at the Desquita del Lago, and he's a bit of an incident there. We'll look at the replay. He was overtaken by Yao Vaz, turned into the corner, and a driver behind, I'm not sure who it was. Was it Mancusi? Yes, a Mancusi on the inside. I'm not sure how you're going to judge that, but it seems that Saito has too much suspension damage, and oh no, he's going to retire from the race after such a promising qualifying session on the front row. Is now out of this race and joins the retirees. Not a good incident, and it seemed to be a little bit like Sebastian Vettel's in Formula 1. Remember in 2012 at turn 4? Driver overtaking and not aware, so driver up the inside, but Mancusi was very hot into the corner.
Yeah, and again, it's a clumsy move on so early on in the Grand Prix, 71 laps, and it's a long way to go, and Mancusi making a move like that, well, he's only going to damage his own front wing, but he's damaged the chances of the man he hit, Saito.
Yeah, I'm going to have to put that on Michele Mancusi, who's currently being passed by Jonas Nokarainen, who goes into the 6th position. Great pass from the Finn, as Mancusi may be suffering from a little bit of damage. So that's something we'll check out as the race will go on. Lap 5 of 71 here. Many, many laps to go as Mac Backham brings that lead up, extrudes it to 1.1 seconds ahead of Peter Berryman, who is ahead of his teammate Graham Carroll, of his teammate Van Loozenhoorn behind as well. So those three for Apex Racing UK have got their work cut out for them, because Mac Backham here, Andrew, is a very, very strong driver, very fast. He's going to be under a little bit of less pressure because he knows he's almost guaranteed to earn that World Championship license, but he's going all out for the championship win here for sure.
Yeah, but again, you've got to finish the races, and I'm going to say it over and over again, you're going to get bored of me saying it, but you have to finish, you have to make sure you get these points, and you have to make sure that you get that World Championship license, because that's what this is all about. Backham is looking pretty solid at this stage. Berryman dropped to 1.1 seconds behind now. It looks like Backham's got a tiny edge on these Apex drivers. Graham Carroll in 3rd, Loozenhoorn in 4th. And then Halvaz having a good start, up into 5th place. And actually, now that he's got some fresh air in front of him, looks like he's closing in a little bit.
See what the Portuguese man can do there from 5th position. Halvaz, very strong driver. Good to see him up in the top 10 for once. Oscar Mangan there in 12th position, defending from Riley Preston, the Australian behind. And Oscar Mangan, he's a young gun here. Another Apex Racing UK car. I'll tell you what, Andrew, I think almost every car out here is an Apex Racing UK car, or maybe a Vortex car as well.
That's the dream, mate.
Two teams that are fielding a lot of drivers, but that comes as a benefit as well. The more drivers you have, yes, it can sort of be a little bit of a redundancy, but at the same time, you can work together and dominate the field. You have a lot of drivers working with setups. You don't just have, for example, those teams where 3/4 of the drivers have a World Championship license already and one driver didn't make it and you're on your own testing for the rest of the Pro Series.
Yeah.
These guys are going to be working together and improving on their pace at the same time.
Yeah, they are. And I mean, Cam Stark, who's in 10th place, won the Indy 500, so he knows what he's doing.
By 8,000ths of a second.
By 8,000ths of a second. It was a wonderful finish, the best I've ever seen. And yeah, fantastic for him, and he's now showing his mettle on the road. He's a good road course racer, is Cam, and he's showing that here. We've got a battle actually, side by side in fact. Marcus Hamilton, Vedran Kral for 23rd place. Hamilton going into turn 4 on the inside, and he makes that nice and easily, so ahead of Vedran Kral now.
Good stuff from Marcus Hamilton from the UK and Ireland. A very, very strong driver, Marcus Hamilton. Ahead of him is Michael Dinkel. Let's see how Michael Dinkel can make his way through the field. So those two started from 34th and 35th already. Dinkel up into 22nd, Hamilton up into 23rd. And right now, as looking around about where Alatalo is, because Marin Kolak at the moment has a great run here on the Fin. Marin Kolak, look at the speed he's carrying onto the main straight. Around the outside of Riku Alatalo, a braking battle into turn 1, and Alatalo keeps it together. He's going to stick it up the inside. Kolak will keep the position though. Alatalo will have the undercut, and here we go, back on to the run to turn 4. Alatalo tucks into the slipstream of Marin Kolak.
Look at Cam Stark as well. They're trying to make it 3 wide here. But Alatalo there losing out to Kolak. Good move by Marin Kolak. It's very difficult to go around the outside there and to hold it without the other man cutting back. But luckily for him, Johnny was placed on the apex of turn 2 and Alatalo couldn't get the cutback like he wanted.
Yeah, exactly. So there we go. Marin Kolak up into 8th position, and he will dispose of Riku Alatalo, who could be carrying a little bit of extra fuel here compared to everybody else, because his qualifying pace is not the same as his race pace. Danny Garcia Filol behind as well in 11th place for Iberica Racing, and Iberica have a very strong field of drivers.
Oh, off!
Danny Garcia.
Off goes.
Who's that?
Gone the wrong way with the arrows. It's Preston. Yes, Riley Preston.
Oh, a huge spin. He's going round and round. I'm surprised he might not be dizzy from that. So Riley Preston there for Evolution Racing Australia. And he's had a spin that's pushed him down the order. I think right now, focus, Andrew, as we look at the replay there. The struggle for balance that we spoke about in the track guide, as Samuel Clark will also maybe have a look at him here into turn 1. The struggle for balance through turn 11. Now what Riley has to do is, tyre's going to be a little bit, not up to temperature, a little bit weird. You just got to keep your focus and not be angry from that little spin.
That's it. It's very easy to get rattled, and it's very easy to lose the concentration, and everything does spiral occasionally. And the thing is, down through Magullo, it is a flat-out corner, but these high track temperatures just mean that the rear wheels just want to spin up just that little bit too much. You've got to modulate your throttle through there. You've got to make sure you get the right line, because otherwise that will happen.
Certainly so. Jonas Nokarainen here in P7, trying to snatch P6 away from Sushi, the man in P6, Michele Mancusi. And
he made sushi out of he made sushi out of Saito, didn't he?
Yeah, he certainly did. So Saito unfortunately is out of the race, and unfortunately, well, Jonas Nokarainen here, I'm lost for words, because for some reason he's 6/10ths back. I was expecting a pass into turn 1. So Mancusi right now, very close to the grass, has missed the first apex into the center S. That's helped Nokarainen close the gap. It looks visually already that he's gained around about a 10th. He needs to use the slipstream. There we go. He's gained a 10th on the relative times, only half a second behind now. For Jonas Nukkarainen, his teammate is in first place. He's only 8.6 seconds behind the leader. If he can get past and dispose of Mancusi here, he might be able to help his teammate, and who knows, when we look at fuel strategies will come into play, and we'll talk about that a little bit later on. And maybe Nukkarainen could be on a one-stop here.
Thing is, his lap times are strange because he was in the very low 13s, and then the last 2 laps have been 1:14.4, 1:14.5, so that's where Mancusi's actually managed to get past him. Something's happened to Nukkarainen on the last couple of laps, and we have to keep an eye out to see what his pace is like. Looks okay now.
Yeah, and look at that. I think Mancusi's had a terrible run out of turn 11, and Jonas Nukkarainen, oh so close, heading on to the main straight here. Lap 10 of 71 as Nukkarainen decides to take the inside line and goes into the first corner. This will be a straight candy from a baby move. And Jonas Nukkarainen up into the 6th position on a pursuit towards a top 5 result, hopefully for the Finn, who is raced in the World Championship in 2015. Good to see him out here in the Pro Series, still testing, still racing. Wants to get rid of this series as quick as possible. Another battle down the field. Oscar Mangan here, right behind Danny Garcia Filol, and he will not have the straight line speed. We'll look at pit strategies for you. So a 2-stop strategy, we're looking at the window to open around lap 27 to 33. A 1-stop will be from lap 34 onwards. The second stop for a 2-stop will take place around about lap 49 to 55. Now this is interesting, Andrew. Most of these guys, or half of them, are coming from Grand Prix Series experience. The races are half the distance, or half the time really it takes, 45 minutes. And are they going to 3-stop? Because some of these drivers are not going to be used to driving this car with heavy fuel loads. And for them, 2-stop is a heavy fuel load, whereas for World Championship drivers, that's as light as they're ever going to go.
Yeah, that's true. We might. The thing is, we may also see some drivers making mistakes at the end of the race as well, because you know, I know myself, when you go into a race that's longer than you usually do, you know, the mind and even the body starts going in some cases. But yeah, 2 stops, 3 stops, I guess we're going to have to see. I mean, depends how much the tyres are getting punished by these hot conditions, Johnny, I reckon.
Certainly so. Good to see so many viewers out there here today. It's great always to see the view count go up, you could say, for iRacing and the sim racing community as the racing gets ever so more and more entertaining. Peter Berryman has closed the gap to Mac Backham to 0.6 of a second right now. Across the line, it was actually 0.7, so he's lost a little bit of time just as I say that. 0.6 now, there we go. So he's really trying to fight here, Andrew, as he's very close to Mac. Now, is Mac just taking a little bit of a break, just conserving a little bit of energy mentally as well? Because if anything, he should be a lot faster than he was at the start of the race, but he's not.
Well, Berryman actually is getting quicker as the stint's going on, which I'm a tiny bit surprised at. I mean, could it be that Backham is on a higher fuel load than Peter? Or, I mean, Berryman's showing a lot more consistency than the Dutchman at the moment.
This is a very interesting fight. Lap 13 of 71 here. It's going to be a very interesting race coming up for you. The gaps throughout the field from first place to 22nd is 24 seconds. That's almost a second between every driver. Some close battles throughout the field. Oscar Mangan's been involved in a lot of battles. Ahead of him is Danny Garcia Filol. Cam Stark in 10th. So Danny Garcia here in a little bit of a Apex Racing UK sandwich. Alatalo's had a quiet event since the start. He had that battle with Marin Kolak, but there he sits in P9, Andrew, and we speak about Alatalo right now. Fared really well here at Interlagos. What he wants to do, and this is what I'm expecting him throughout the Pro Series, is he wants to get a good result here today, maybe another one as the season goes on. Don't forget, out of the 9 rounds, between weeks 1 and 7, a driver is allowed 1 drop week. So maybe Alatalo is just trying to get the points, doesn't want to race in every race, just wants to get that World Championship license. So here we go, straight from the start of the season he's motivated, and that's good to see at least, because it gives us an extra driver to add to that win battle.
Motivation is such an important thing in anything, but in sim racing it seems like motivation comes and goes fairly easily, and it's when drivers like Rico Alatalo are driven and they can see the prize in front of them, that's when they start to produce their best form. Another man who is producing his best form at the moment is well, at least was João Vaz. He was closing in on Martin van Loozenhout quite rapidly there, but just dropped back a little bit during this lap, so I wonder if he had a mistake at the first corner. But Halvaz looking impressive. He started 9th, he's up to 5th, and he's closing in.
And that gap for the lead, 7/10 now between Berryman and Mac Backham. A few battles down the order. Pablo Lopez, crowd favourite, right behind Oscar Mangan. Oscar so young, a lot to learn here. If he doesn't get his pro license, I don't think it should demotivate him, because he's got a lot of potential for the future. And I spoke about it in the Pro Series preview, as Mangan has a huge slide out of turn 10. And I might have to disregard what I was about to say, because Pablo Lopez almost collects Oscar Mangan there, outbreaking himself into Yun Sao. And there we go, on the radio as well, Pablo Lopez speaking about almost collecting Oscar there. So, a little bit of a mistake. Uncharacteristic, I would say, Andrew, because Pablo Lopez has a lot of experience in racing.
Yeah, he does indeed, and he's making good progress in this race as well. Started 22nd up to 13th. And he's, again, Iberica looking pretty strong at the moment.
Here we go, Pablo. Down there. I think he might be able to get a pass on Oscar soon enough, because Oscar made a mistake, then it was Pablo. So I think if he just keeps it clean, he'll dispose of Oscar soon enough. Apart from that, closest battle down the order is actually Tomo Meglek in 18th position, right behind Frederick Evers. Frederick Evers, a newcomer. Tomo Meglek we've seen in the World Championship. Here they come towards turn number 8, using all that curb on the inside. For those wondering if they're cutting the track, that is allowed on iRacing. They will not be penalised for putting all 4 wheels onto the curb. And through turn 10 as well. This is not where you want to put all 4 wheels onto the curb, Andrew, because
no.
The curb is very bumpy, and it's going to unsettle the car, and it's going to maybe not really going to gain you any time. It's going to do the opposite and drastically increase your lap time.
Exit traction is difficult out of there at the best of times, Johnny, and I think you've got to minimise the wheel spin here. The one thing I have noticed, and maybe the reason why Berryman is closing in on Backham, is Backham seems to be lighting up the rear tyres coming out of the slow corners a little bit. You can see that shocking pink Radicals car moving around a little bit more than the Apex Racing car of Berryman.
Look at this battle between Christian Tanahote and Benjamin Lindsay here into turn 4, side by side. Benjamin Lindsay on the brakes. Oh, so close between the two of them. And Benjamin Lindsay, what a move. Up into the top 15. Incredible stuff here. And that was so close, wheel to wheel. And, you go into turn 4. Either you're going to hit each other or you're going to make it through. You're not going to just have a little bit of a tap and then continue on. It was very, very risky from the two of them, but you have to take risks to make your way up the order, and Benjamin Lindsay knows that. He has the experience, and he's going to take that. The man from the USA proving his worth here.
That was a fantastic move by Lindsay. You don't often see that round the outside. Interlagos and Tanahato, I think he slightly surprised that he went for that, I think. So, moving forward, Lindsay started 21st up to 15th place now. Graham Carroll did a 12.7 on that last lap as well. That was nearly as fast as his qualifying time.
Yeah, so certainly some of these drivers on... I'm contemplating whether a few of them are on a 3-stop, and if they are, we'll see them around in the pits around about now. So track temperature is down 5 degrees from qualifying, and track grip has increased as well from qualifying. So maybe these guys are on a 2-stop. Track conditions just changing. We can't really tell. As I see Petty Cotavara in the chat. He should be racing here today, but I'm not sure if he qualified or not. But he should be out there aiming or obtaining that World Championship license. So hopefully we'll see him soon enough. But as we concentrate on Graham Carroll, the good thing for him, Andrew, is that he got World Championship experience here at Interlagos in the second round of 2015 that took place at the Autodromo Jose Carlos Pace. Is that good, Hugo? My pronunciation of that? I don't know. But yeah, close enough. For Graham Carroll, though, he has that experience, Andrew, and that's critical coming into the Pro Series because, I mean, when nerves build up, right now, if you're in a World Championship race and you compare it to the Pro Series, he has that experience, and he's not going to be as nervous as some of the other newcomers out here.
I was talking to him last week, and very, very nice chap, and he won the Walter Hayes Trophy race down at Silverstone, which is a big Formula Ford festival. So, and he was a British champion in 2008, so he knows, he's got real world experience. He was saying to me actually that, and very interesting to hear from a driver who races in real life, that iRacing, he gets nervous on iRacing almost more than he does when he gets in his Formula Ford car. So, and he was really looking forward to this and really seeing how, if he could prove himself in this company, and he's doing so at the moment.
I think something I can sort of relate to that in a little bit as Christian Tanahote and Riley Preston battle here. And I was going to say something, but I'm not going to say it because Riley Preston is more exciting, and he's right behind Tanahote.
And he's recovering.
He's recovering from that spin earlier on at turn 11, past turn 12, and now here he goes up the hill. Needs the slipstream, but does he have the straight line speed? Riley Preston very far back here on Christian. And Tanahote, another guy who has plenty experience in this car. I think for Riley right now, as I spoke about, this goes to show that he's a driver to be reckoned with, because if you can spin and still recover and make your way up the field rather than down and keep spinning for the rest of the race. I know it's early days, but he's really strong mentally so far.
Yeah, I mean, he's recovered pretty well. Let's see what sort of lap times he's been doing. Yeah, he's in the mid-13s, so not quite as fast as the leaders, but he's definitely faster than Christian Tanahato at the moment. So we'll see what he can do about the friction racing car into the infield section. And this is a great little sequence of corners. Actually, it does break up the flow of faster corners and long straights here at Interlagos, and does have a nice flow to it. If your car's working well, you really can make time through here, and especially out of this hairpin and down towards Magullo. You have to get that exit right, because if you come out too far, don't get quite over to the right enough for Magullo, it makes that corner extremely difficult, especially in this car when the rear wheels are so sensitive to temperature. Lindsay Preston is a bit closer this time.
Here's Marcus Hamilton passing Tomo Meglek. What a move there into turn 8. Great stuff from Marcus Hamilton. The car sliding though at turn 8, almost collecting Tomo, but in the end, great driving from both of them. Tomo then at turn 9 also had a little bit of a moment, but Marcus Hamilton, that's why I'm disappointed here, Andrew, because for some reason he's down the order.
Here comes Williams on Meglek. Trying to go around the outside. Hold that thought for a second. We've seen a couple of moves around the outside there today, and not this time. Meglek defends the TNT racing car.
Here's Samuel Clark now, up
Dinkel
towards turn 6. You don't make passing maneuvers here, side by side into the corner. And how about, is that Michael Dinkel?
It's Dinkel,
Michael
yeah.
Dinkel up
And
the inside as
Kral.
well. And then Vedran Kral into turn 8. Great stuff here as Samuel Clark is going to lose right around 2 positions.
Dear.
And he just keeps it in front of Vedran. But great stuff from Michael Dinkel. And here's a great field of drivers who are down the order. Lots of these drivers, they're very strong. Hamilton, Meglek, Williams, Dinkel, Clark, and Kral. 6 guys who you're not going to expect to be so down the order right now, but they're battling and they're really producing a lot of entertainment for those last positions.
Oh yeah, it's great stuff for us, and it's great for all the viewers who are joining us on RaceSpotTV. But Sam Clark there, it's just a bit of an ill-judged move, wasn't it? Or half a move, which just put him wide up at Ferradura and got onto the marbles, and that's, that's all she wrote when you get out there.
Yeah, great stuff to see. I mean, as the battle for the lead as well. I thought somebody entering the pit lane. I thought Backham and Berryman were. I think at the moment... Oh, Backham has a huge moment. Is that going to allow Berryman into the lead? Oh, at turn 10, Mac Backham is struggling for traction, and you mentioned it before, Andrew, how Backham wasn't the best coming out of corners. Here's Peter Berryman, who's the opposite. Incredible traction coming out of the corners, out of Yun Sao, the most important corner on the racetrack, on towards the long main straight. Gonna start lap 22 here. Will Berryman shape up a pass into turn 1? He might have to set up Backham into turn 4. Oh, he collects him! Berryman's outbraked himself, and he's collected Mac Backham, both of them sustaining damage, and Graham Carroll takes the lead. Oh, wow, incredible stuff there. And Peter Berryman, what a mistake. He's going to be lamenting that. Hopefully no damage for those two, but not something you want to do in the with 50 laps remaining in this event.
Yeah, that was a poor bit of driving, wasn't it? And do you think he could have possibly got a little overexcited that he had the chance, he could smell the lead, and maybe that's what I don't know. I don't like to sort of say what people are thinking, because you never know, but it could have just been that little bit. As we can see a replay, can we?
Yeah, replay up on your screen right now, and Berryman, it's obviously his fault. I mean, he just completely outbraked himself. The thing is, Mac Backham and Peter Berryman, two guys who've only sim raced for the past few years, don't have decades of experience on simulators. And for Berryman there, lesson learnt, do not outbrake yourself when you're battling for the lead. Right now though, he's only sustained a little bit of front wing damage, no suspension damage most importantly. He will lose time though in straight line speed. Here we go across the main straight. Let's see how much time, and he's not losing that much straight line speed. I think he's only lost right around only a few kilometers an hour. So if anything, he's come out not so bad from that crash, and the same for Mac Backham. But Graham Carroll, most importantly, takes the lead of this race. He's led his first lap here, 49 laps remaining in the event, and these guys are going to be two-stopping, and Graham Carroll at this moment, at this point in time, could be walking in to the round 1 win, and I'm calling it early.
Oh no, you've gone and done it now.
No curse.
This is the best. This is the best week that Graham Carroll's probably ever had in his life. If he wins this one, I mean, it's fantastic for him. And but with Backham, Berryman, he's got about the same damage as Mancusi had after hitting Saito. So it is costing Mancusi. That's why he was able to be overtaken so easily by Nukarinen, because he just lacked that straight line speed, that little bit of aero damage. And now actually Nukarinen, this will be a good test, Johnny, because he's closing on Berryman now. Berryman's struggling out there actually. Started this lap about 1.7 in front of Nukarinen.
Yeah, so Peter Berryman with that front wing damage, and Jonas Nukarinen here could be looking at a top 5 results. And for the Radicals Online car there, they won't have the lead, but Nukarinen and Backham will be into the top 5. Oh, and Nukarinen, did you see that?
Yeah,
that was incredible. He kept it together, and he's just going to stay patient here. I think somebody needs to be on the radio there at Radicals and tell him that, hey, Berryman has damage. Do not push over the top. He could even pass him here into the infield section as they traverse through this segment of the lap. I love this wonderful turn 6 on towards 7 and then turn 8. And look at this, Nukarinen up the inside, and Berryman lets him through. Very safe there from Peter Berryman, and very smart. I think here, Andrew, Berryman's waiting for that first pit stop to repair his damage.
Yeah, and I think that's all the damage he's got. I mean, does it look like Backham's got any damage? I think he might have got away with it. It wasn't a very heavy contact. He's got a tiny bit of front wing damage from when he was spun round and they just hit each other a little bit after the initial contact.
So Mac Backham maybe could be a little bit unscathed. I doubt he's got no damage. He definitely has something, but he enters the pit lane. Mac Backham into the pits, the first leader to come in. Will Peter Berryman follow? No, Peter Berryman continues, and has Mancusi, I think, yeah, Mancusi's joined him. So Mac Backham and Michele Mancusi both pit. Marin Cholak continues. And who else is there? That's it. So Mac Backham, let's see how long this pit stop goes for. Currently in his box, out and away, very quick. So hardly any damage for him there, Andrew. He's going to continue. And the race isn't over. Early pit stop here. It was very close to the wall, wasn't he?
There's that. But there's Lopez and Mangan as well. Sorry, Lopez and Mangan side by side through the middle section. Actually, Lopez gets it done because Mangan went slightly wide at turn 4, and he's going to try up into Ferradura, and that's not really the passing place as you mentioned. But Pablo Lopez is now up 10 positions from where he started.
And it took Pablo Lopez, finally was able to pass Oscar Mangan. It took him too long. He's into the top 10 now. Obviously, a few drivers made their pit stops. But most importantly, let's see, I was mentioning before where Mac Backham will feed out, because he needs no traffic. And talking about that, he's right behind Riley Preston. So if Preston doesn't pit, Mac Backham has to dispose of him. But he's going to be heavier fueled, so I don't think Riley's really going to impede him too much here. Let's see how rhythm goes for Mac Backham as Peter Berryman enters the pit lane. And this is the real question of the day. Let's see how long this will go for Peter Berryman. Hopefully not too long, Andrew, as he enters his box.
Yeah, it looked like he was trying to just do a couple of laps and see if he couldn't wring any pace out of that car. 14.9 last time, 14.9 the lap before that. Ooh. So yeah, he's had some, he's realised he has to come into the pits, repairs that car, back out with a new front wing. We'll see what he can do. But look who's in second place, João Vaz, who's had a, to be honest, trouble-free and tremendous performance so far.
Yeah,
That's probably put the nail in the coffin for him now I've said that.
Yeah, no, I don't believe in commentary curses or whatever.
They exist.
Yes, they don't exist. For Yao Vaz though, second place, great stuff. He's 5.5 seconds behind Graham Carroll, who doesn't pit. Carroll's got some great pace if he's not pitting at the moment. So we're looking at 2 stops as we mentioned, the 2-stop window opening. So Peter Berryman right now, new front wing as he repairs that vehicle. And he is currently in a little bit of a clear track, you could say, right behind Michael Dinkel. Dinkel is battling with... That is Tommy Meglek in front. So they've been battling for most of this race. Lost Graham Carroll. He's back onto the racetrack. A little bit of a technical issue. As Nukarainen enters the pit lane, that's what I was waiting for. Somebody else in the lead pack to enter the pit lane. So Nukarainen's gone longer than Mac Backham. Let's see how much time he gains on his teammate. Not much. Backham's already ahead, but Nukarainen exits the pit lane here. He'll have a clear track.
Tricky pit exit here, actually, isn't it? In this
car.
So...
Oh, and Nukarainen goes onto the grass as well. And he's going to be right in front of Paul Williams. But Williams, smart enough, does not get himself into trouble. The thing is that I wouldn't be surprised if Paul Williams maybe stuck it around the outside of Yunus because he has to defend from Tomo Meglek behind.
Nukarainen was going across to that right-hand side whether Williams liked it or not, I think, that time. Goodness.
So great battle here in the mid-pack here. Paul Williams, Tomo Meglek, and Michael Dinkel. They're just behind Yunus Nukarainen, and Yunus might be holding these guys up a little bit because of the fact that he is heavier fuel. Just came out of the pit lane as Graham Carroll, the leader of this race, enters the pits along with Yao Vaz, along with Cam Stocks continues. So Yao Vaz, Graham Carroll into the pit lane. Let's see where Graham Carroll will feed out. Very important pit stop for him. Very tight exit. Goes through close to the wall, trying to minimize as much time as he can. Riku Alatalo also in the pits. He's had a quiet race so far. And Graham Carroll here into a clear track. As I said, Andrew, he's got a promising future to his race here.
Yes, indeed. Oh, indeed. And I don't expect anything less. But you know, it's early days. It's early days, and you know, Graham's still got a long way to go. And how Vaz... has Martin Van Loos not stayed out?
Yes.
So, he's got good pace in that car, hasn't he, if he started with that fuel load?
Maybe one-stopping.
Possibly. I mean, he's very, very fast, is Martin, but...
No, he's not.
He's not maybe that fast.
Yeah, he's just pitted right there. He scrapped what we were just trying to make him do. Extend that streak into a one-stop. 43 laps remaining in this event, and he pits, the effective leader.
Marin
Cholak also pits in as well. So those two, who will lead the race? Cam Stark pits, and Graham Carroll will reclaim the lead because Danny Garcia Falol also pits. This is a pit party right now.
Lopez.
Wow, Lopez.
Hangen.
So many cars, and most. Let's see.
I think Oliveira stayed out, possibly. So Oliveira might be one-stopping. So will he lead? Oh no, he's in second place. So Carroll leads, and then it's Oliveira, and then it's it'll be Hal Vaz then, and then it's Van Loozenhout.
And Peter Berryman right here could have a run on Tomo Meglek. The battle for P9. Peter Berryman up the inside, maybe he slots it there, and he's oh, great stuff here as Meglek gives him space. Berryman maybe will need to tuck into the slipstream and have a go at turn 6. He's going to be too far behind. Oof. And Meglek, very smart, knows he's too far behind, turns into the corner, doesn't waste time. But for Peter Berryman, he'll be stuck through this infield section of the racetrack. And here we go, Andrew, the recovery from that mistake for Peter Berryman. He's repaired that car.
Meglek's getting very crossed up coming out of that second hairpin there as they're down through Magullo. I was about to ask you actually, Johnny, in relation to this battle, did you think that contact was going to discourage Berryman? But it doesn't look like it has.
Yeah. Well, no, I was going to ask you that. How'd you read my mind? Because the next thing on my mind was the fact that Berryman is keeping himself composed. He's got another go here at Tomo Meglek into turn 1. Look at the straight line speed on that Apex Racing UK car. Maybe have a go up the inside. He does. Brakes late. Uses smart tactics. And Meglek gives him space. Peter Berryman up into the 7th position. Great stuff from him.
It's close.
Peter Berryman, 42 laps remaining, making his way up the field. The recovery, road to recovery, working out well for the UK and Ireland man.
Yeah, and Cholak as well isn't that far behind. So he's going to be the next one to have a go at Tomo Meglic. Mancusi is actually in 12th place now, but he'll have a new wing on that Friction Racing car, I believe. I'm just going to check that, yeah. So it's a brand new front wing for Michele Mancusi.
Let's see, where's Mac Backham? Backham's in 4th. So Mac Backham now behind Van Loozenord, as Diogo Oliveira obviously made his pit stop, and he goes back into the 16th position. So Mac Backham up into 4th. And let's see, he's 9 seconds away from Graham Carroll in the lead. This will be interesting here, Andrew, as we look at lap times. Because Graham Carroll, a 1 minute 13.0 as he crossed the line. For Mac Backham, a 1 minute 13.5. Half a second off the pace. I'm not sure if he made a mistake, because that is very slow, unless he's not going to stop for the rest of this event.
His last few laps have been similar though, Johnny, and that's... I mean, did we see what his pit stop time was? Was he longer getting the fuel in the car?
It was as Pablo Lopez into the pit lane, yeah, it was around about 9 seconds, so that's very interesting. Yeah, because 8.5 seconds and above. I think for a one stop, to go to the end, he'd need to be around 10 or 11 seconds in the pit stop. And as
good work. Looking
at those guys, Mancusi and Alatalo have gone to 10 seconds, maybe with a little bit of damage. But for Graham Carroll in the lead, 8.3 seconds. So, yeah, we're looking around...
Can't lose half a second a lap, though, and make that work.
No, exactly right. So around about 21 seconds, the pit loss time here at Interlagos. And if he's going to lose half a second a lap for the next 41 laps, it's going to be very close, around that 20.5 second range. So it's going to be right on the bubble. Don't forget, tyres also have a thing to play as well. Michael Dinkel, though, most importantly, has not pitted here, Andrew. And that poor qualifying performance may be scrapped, because Dinkel could be on for a great result, maybe one-stopping this race and attacking Jonas Nukkarainen here for that 5th position.
It looks like Meglic has been off somewhere, because he's down with... Oh no, he's actually pitted, he's just pitted in, so he's... because he's down with Vedran Kral now, in about 26th place.
So he's out of... Oh, he's back on. I thought he's out of the race.
Is that his first stop?
That was his first stop. So Tomo Meglic, very long stop as well. He might have had a little bit of damage. Here's Michael Dinkel, though, very close to Jonas Nukkarainen. And for those guys, Jonas Nukkarainen, he's very experienced. Michael Dinkel, very fast. Dinkel, the team captain there at Vortex Racing, and team captains in sim racing, those leadership guys on the team can make a huge difference here. So many Vortex racers out there here today, Andrew. So Michael Dinkel, if he can show that you can qualify poorly and still finish well, it will set a good example for the rest of those guys he's trying to lead into a World Championship license.
Yeah, leadership's extremely important, and actually this second stint for Dinkel has been, sorry, not second stint, the second half of the stint has been very good, and we'll see if he might even think about one stopping it. It's going to be very difficult from here, but he could do it. The only problem he's got here is that he's going to drop back into that squabbling pack around where... Oh no, he'll be dropped further back, won't he? He'll drop down to where sort of Paul Williams and Sam Clark, Tomo Meglic, all those guys who've been having a right roll battle, and now Kral is attacking Meglic.
He is, so here we go. Good little battle here. Tomo Meglic and Vedran Kral side by side into turn 1. Tomo Meglic very close here, and he will have the inside line. Will Kral get the cutback out of the center S? Good stuff from both these guys. Vedran Kral will have to take the slipstream as they head over towards turn 4, but I think that is all set, signed and delivered for Tomo Meglic, who will take... Oh, maybe not, actually. That was very close there, Andrew. But for Michael Dinkel here, a 7.7 second pit stop. He's definitely two-stopping this race. Some of those drivers in the World Championship like to do that. They like to extend that first stint, go heavy, and then go for 2 quick stints to end the race. So Michael Dinkel could be doing that.
Yeah, and at Interlagos, it's very difficult to keep track position, so if you're slower, so you wouldn't necessarily want to run a one stop really, because it's not a track where you can actually get that track position and then keep it. So as Berryman and Nukkarainen now in combat as they come through turn 3.
Yeah, here we go. Peter Berryman, he's a little bit too far behind, but he was getting oh so close every single lap here. He's just building his confidence, I would say, Andrew, because after that contact that took Mac Backham out for the lead, he is probably, or not probably, he's most likely going to face some penalties if not for this round, for future rounds as well. And the penalties we know in iRacing, when you get one, it is harsh. We've had people have suspended race penalties even. Yeah, so for Peter Berryman, could be facing a lot of trouble. Right now, though, he needs to keep his head down and just, garnish and clean up his race here. Clean it up, get a good result for him. And here we go. Maybe a great run here on Nukkarainen across the main straight.
Make sure that if you do get a penalty and it's applied to this race, that penalty makes as little effect as possible. I mean, remember, the most recent penalty of note was Mac Backham getting banned for crashing into our cameraman at Suzuka.
Yeah. So here we go, side by side, maybe into turn 1 as Peter Berryman breaks the late. The same move he pulled on Mac Backham, wheel to wheel, oh so close. This time he keeps it clean. Great stuff from the man from Ireland. And now
wiggled
on
a bit
towards
through
turn
turn
4. Yeah, he did. So here we go into the slipstream again. Peter Berryman will go up the inside here. Surprise Jonas Nukkarainen into turn 4, who lets him through. And Peter Berryman up into 5th position.
Oh, he's not letting him through, Johnny. He's definitely not letting him through because he's fighting back his Nukkarainen, but the Irishman goes through.
Great stuff here. That is incredible.
This is one of the best races in the Williams I've ever seen. Some great action out there.
I'll tell you what, it's because it's young guys in the Pro Series, or at least new guys, newcomers who are basically trying to get drafted into the World Championship, fighting for pride here. And it's great to see out there as Peter Berryman is sliding through corners, fighting to break away from Jonas Nukkarainen. Very smart from him. You can break that toe and break the slipstream, which makes a huge difference, not just in this Williams, but in iRacing. The effect is simulated very well. So Peter Berryman doing some nice stuff there, already 7/10 ahead of Jonas Nukkarainen as we head almost towards halfway distance. 36 laps remaining in this race. Graham Carroll still leads. It's been a very good race from him so far, Andrew.
Trouble free for the Scotsman at the moment, but we'll see if that continues. And like I say, he's a mate of mine, so hopefully it does. But yeah, it's João Vaz, he's pushing very, very hard and very, very quick at the moment. 12.8 for João Vaz that last time, 12.9 for Graham Carroll, 12.8 for Luzenord, and 13.1 for Mac Backham. So Backham may still have a tiny bit of rear wing damage. I mean, you wouldn't be surprised if he did, even though he can't see any.
Yeah, it's not visual damage, but he might certainly have some that you might not be able to see.
I just have to point this one thing out though, Johnny. This is exactly what I was talking about before the race started. With Backham and Berryman, because on another day both of those guys are out of the race, and that's not what you want in this series, where every single race, okay, there is a dropped round, but every race still counts.
It certainly does, as Graham Carroll crosses the line. 35 laps remaining in this event, and he leads by 5.4 seconds ahead of João Vaz in second position. Good to see João Vaz there, who's climbed from 9th on the grid to second position. And it's Martin van Luzenord who's climbed up from 6th to 3rd, 6.4 seconds away from the leader. Mac Backham in 4th, Peter Berryman behind in 5th. Those two battling for the lead earlier on. Into a little bit of trouble there, Peter Berryman, as he outbraked himself and collected Mac Backham, both of them sustaining a little bit of damage. Jonas Nukkarainen in 6th. Quiet race for him, you could say. He's just picking the pieces, gaining the points he needs to get that World Championship license. Good to see Michele Mancusi, who's dropped down from 4th to 7th, but is still in the top 10, 17.7 seconds away from the leader. Marin Cholak in his first Pro Series race, 21 seconds away from the leader, right in front of Riku Alatalo. We'll look at that battle side by side as we go towards our ad break.
I'm just going to butt in just quickly for a split second. Peter Berryman, I believe, just set the fastest lap of the race at 12.5, so he is 4.5 seconds behind Backham, so we'll see if that develops in the second half of the race.
We'll certainly see so. And the rest of the top 10, Alatalo 9th, and Danny Garcia for Iberica Racing in 10th position. The rest of the field on your screen, as you can see, throughout the event, lots of retirees which we'll look out for after. We'll take a quick step aside for right around 1 minute. We'll be back shortly. Do not leave us. A very entertaining finish to the race coming up. You're watching the 2015 iRacing.com Road Pro Series live on iRacingLive and RaceSpotTV. Welcome back to the 2015 iRacing.com Road Pro Series live on iRacingLive and RaceSpotTV. Good to see so many of you viewers out there. We love you all, and trust me, I really mean that. It's great to see so many of you out there very interested to see these new and upcoming racers, as well as those already with World Championship experience fighting for their 2016 license. As we look at the order again, Graham Carroll up there in first position ahead of Yalvaz. Van Loosenhoort and Backham in third and fourth. Peter Berryman closing in on Mac Backham now. 3.1 seconds the gap. He's gaining 8/10 a lap at the moment. Incredible stuff from Peter Berryman. Then it's Jonas Nukarainen, Michele Mancusi, Marin Cholak, Riku Alatalo and Danny Garcia in 10th position. Down the order, we look at your retirees. Jorge Montañez, Michael Martin, Kazuki Umeshima, Yuho Abe, Yuta Saito. For the Japanese racers, hasn't been a good event. Kevin Siggy in his first Pro Series race for Positive Sim Racing is out. And in last position is Fulvio Barazini, a lap down with a little bit of damage. So right now, most importantly, is something you noted, Andrew. The fact that Peter Berryman is gaining so much time on Mac Backham, who's finally decided to step up his pace. And it's still not enough, as this battle here between Samuel Clark and Vedran Kroll is heating up quite a lot.
Do we think that Berryman might have done what you said and gone for 2 shorter stints? Or gone for maybe a 3-stop with short stints in the middle of the race?
He would have... I don't think he would go for a 3-stop. I think he's gone for 2 short stints with a 2-stop. Actually, wait, no, he pitted... What lap did he pit again? Let's have a look at this. For Peter Berryman, it was right around lap 26. Yeah, he could be going for 2 short stints, as you say, Andrew, and maybe... I think Mac Backham is just off the pace, because Peter Berryman's pace is similar to those in the top 3 of Carroll, Vaz and Loosenhoort, but Backham is in the 13s at the moment. I think Backham has damage that hasn't been repaired.
What he needs to do, though, is he needs to get to the end, and he needs to get to the end in the top 5 position, because it'll still... I mean, look, you know, he won't... He doesn't win the race, you know, it's not a major disaster for him. He is going to be one of the contenders if he can finish, and that's all really he needs to do. But as he did say, you know, he will be looking to build confidence if he can get into the World Championship Series.
Oh, Benjamin Lindsay, sorry to cut you off there. He's off the racetrack. A little bit of a technical issue between Lopez and Lindsay. I don't know whose technical issue it was, but it seemed to be a little bit of aero loose or something like that. So it looked like it was going to be a ripper battle, a cracking battle between the two of them. And
a tiny bit of damage. Tiny bit of damage
really?
for Lindsay on the front wing, but it's just the front. Well, possibly. I need to have a look at that again. Looks like the end plate's just bent ever so slightly. Oh, maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe I imagined that. Do that long.
Right. Yeah, it's Hey, you know what? It's yeah, he's got damage. Just say he has damage. It'll make things more interesting. He's currently in 13th position. And he's 1.4 seconds now behind Pablo Lopez, so he's off the track there, back on. Hopefully nothing gone too wrong for him, as Oscar Mangan here in a great fight between him and Danny Garcia Filol. Mangan with a top 10 result. I mean, how much of a confidence booster would that be for the young gun, Andrew? And you know him internally from Apex Racing UK. He's going to be absolutely delighted if he can get past Danny Garcia, one of the strongest drivers out here in the field. Finished second in Season 1 for the Grand Prix Series. For Mangan, this would be an incredible feat.
I think it would. I mean, I don't actually know Oscar that well, but it's... But, you know, I think the key thing for him throughout this whole series... And you know, he's going to be commitment. He's going to have to really, really put his all into the team and put it all into his driving. And he's definitely putting it all out there on the track today.
He's definitely a prospect for the future. Great skill, great potential, and that goes to show as well with Apex Racing UK. With their academy, you're going to have a lot of young drivers. And the addition of Graham Carroll, who leads this race by 6.6 seconds ahead of Yalvaz. The addition of him, a very experienced racer, he's not going to have the greatest potential, but he's going to have current ability, which is what you need to add to strengthen that squad, as Oscar Mangan has a great run here. I think we'll talk about that a little later on, because Oscar could be heading into the top 10, tucks into the slipstream once again on Danny Garcia Filol, maybe into turn 4. Will he surprise him? A surprise attack up the inside, leaves each other space right there, and Mangan will have to settle through, maybe uphill to turn 6, side by side here. Danny Garcia on the inside line, and Mangan up the outside will go
it's
off
not
the
gonna work.
racetrack. Keeps it together. That was so close. All he needed to do, Andrew, was go 2 kilometers an hour slower, and he would have pulled the move off.
Maybe so. The marbles out there on the outside, though, always a problem. Brilliant driving from Danny Garcia Fiola as well. Yeah, wonderful job of keeping that position. But Mangan looks very quick at this point in the race, actually. Slightly surprising, because he was only, well, I say only 14th in qualifying. He was only a 10th or 2 slower than Danny Garcia. He's actually 1/10 slower than him. So we'll see if Garcia can again stave off this attack.
Yeah, and Mancusi as well. Oh, almost loses the car into turn 1 braking, and he's going to have a great run here on Eunice, knock around and into turn 4. Actually, no, he's had a horror exit as Oscar Mangan here. Sorry to miss that. He's up the inside of Danny Garcia Falola, who's going to fight back, and Danny Garcia with the slipstream might get back into the top 10. No, he's whoa, look at the weaving here from Oscar Mangan. That will maybe have a little bit of a check from the stewards, and Danny Garcia not happy with that. You can see there, little visually showing some body language with the car. Was not pleased with a little bit of the weaving there from Mangan, but playing with the rules a little bit.
I think Marcus Hamilton's on a 3-stop as well. That's the word from the pits. So that's not really working out for him at all at the moment. He's down in 24th.
So Marcus Hamilton, his Grand Prix Series work not paying out dividends at the moment. He's currently in P24, as you mentioned. Another pit stop for him. Very long pit time. Not sure if that was for damage or not, or maybe that's just a technical glitch on my screen. But for somebody whose race is working out delightfully at the moment, and yes, it was indeed a 22-second pit stop, so Marcus Hamilton maybe sustained a little bit of damage. Somebody whose race has worked out incredibly well here, Andrew, is Graham Carroll, who leads this race with 27 laps remaining, heads into his next pit stop with a big gap. Now, 21 seconds is the time. He's going to slot in right around P7, where Michele Mancusi is, or actually P6, so just in front of Michele Mancusi. So this is important to build that gap, give that little bit of space that he needs for the clear air to finish this race off strong and grab the first win of the season.
Yeah, he needs just to keep everything clean now at the moment. He's only got about a year's iRacing experience, Johnny, so I think potentially, he still has the potential to improve, definitely. I mean, he's improved quite a bit in the last, couple of months alone, so we'll definitely see. I mean, he's got a very, very high ceiling, I think. And so have a lot of these drivers. Look at Mac Backham. I mean, all the things he was managing to do in the World Championship Series, but he's actually under attack now from Berryman, who's about half a second a lap quicker, and this is round number 2. Seconds out, boys.
Learned his lesson this time and didn't collect back him into turn 1. He couldn't even get him into turn 4. There's a couple drivers ahead battling here, and those are a few lap cars. So those are the names of Tim Bertie and Emil Henriksen, and this could really affect the battle here as they're side by side as Backham and Berryman close in on them both. Will they let Mac Backham through? Blue flags. They do. So let's Mac Backham through. Good stuff from the both of them. I think that was Tim Bertie just then. Yes, it was. Emil Henriksen in front will also receive the blue flags. Both of them in P26 and P27. Out of the way. Good stuff from them. So, and they can still fight here as Emil Henriksen and Tim Bertie. So 2 battles on the racetrack for 2 different separate positions as well on the standings.
That was a good piece of driving actually from Henriksen, because he also allowed himself a good exit out of that slow corner to keep that, to make sure that Bertie couldn't get a run on him. Actually just behind them as well, Vincenzo Amico, so this is a 3-car battle. Oh,
the battle will focus
Amico
on
actually getting a good run.
He does actually, I've been looking at it as well. So Amico here, around the outside of Tim Bertie. It will have to be a braking battle into turn 1 with 25 laps remaining. And Vincenzo Amico, wonderful stuff, up into the 27th position. And he's fighting for around last place here. Barazini is, I think, still in the race. On Pablo Lopez, no. He's had an incident here. And GoPro Lopez is hopefully not out of the race. I think that might have been at Yunsao. A corner that catches a lot of drivers out. It certainly was. We look at the replay. He's lost traction. And there we go. That comes from... it comes from setup, comes from experience. He has the experience. I'm assuming that the traction... He's got damage as well.
He just seemed to go on in there.
Sustained damage.
To go out of nowhere. I mean, that's one thing with this tyre and this tyre model, is that can happen occasionally. Is it just get some unexpected wheel spin and there he goes round. But yeah, now look, he's got a mountain to climb now. But you know, he's still got to finish, get the points, and he'll make a reasonable start to this Pro Series, even with the spin.
I'm not sure if Pablo Lopez has suspension damage bouncing across the curbs. It seems like his car is fine at the moment, but for GoPro fans, it's not going well at the moment. So Pablo Lopez, who was having a promising race to gain some points, as Peter Berryman enters the pit lane, and then we go. That's why he was so fast. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see a move on to Mac Backham, but Peter Berryman into the pits, and he's going to lose even more time here to Mac Backham. So Berryman needs to...
Kral's crashed. Kral's crashed. I don't know if he hit the wall. I think he might have done slightly. Oh, Vedran Kral. I think he's got away with it. He's just bent the front wing in slightly. I think the wheels and the suspension are okay, but yeah, Vedran Kral in the middle sector there, coming a cropper.
Yeah,
all stop for Berryman, it seems like, as well.
Oh, so Peter Berryman, we look at his pit time. Where is he down the border? Well, Peter Berryman's in P20 at the moment. Is that a 28.3 second pit stop? So he's had damage to repair. Yeah, so Peter Berryman's had a lot of damage to repair. I don't think he had damage before he came into the pits. No, he was battling with Mac Backham. So maybe this time his pit crews decided to unfortunately compulsorily, repair the damage on that car.
Unless he got a penalty. Bidding in the pit lane, possibly? Up and
that
go.
Could have been the key. Let's have a look at that quickly. As Graham Carroll, the leader, enters the pit lane. But yeah, that could be the case here. Carroll into the pits. Hopefully a straightforward pit maneuver for him.
I'll keep an eye on Graham if you want to have. I mean, you can have a look and see if it was pit lane speeding. As New Karinen's got a lot of traffic. He's got two cars battling actually in front of him, which is Amico and Bertie were actually side by side into turn 4, and New Karinen was weaving all over the place to try and get their attention and try and get them to move out of the way. But what are supposed to do? They're battling for position.
Yeah, they have to let them through. Blue flags.
That's important.
You're gonna have to let them through anyway.
That's important for them as well, for the points.
Yeah, so
they could be on the fringes of that top 25. Sorry, John.
No, that's interesting conundrum. So it's something they're gonna have to let them through anyway. You can't avoid that at all.
Oh no, definitely not. Definitely not.
I think Peter Berryman. Sorry to cut you off. Peter Berryman could. It was on the brink of speeding. Well, I think we'll speak to him after the race about that. Hopefully we can have a word with him. But for Lopez as well, he's had another spin coming out of turn 1. Oh. And as he left this race, this has not been the best few laps. Pablo Lopez is out of the race, and this will have to be his drop weeks in the first 7 weeks of the season. Mac Backham entering the pit lane. So much action going on here. It never stops with 22 laps remaining.
Yeah, just Sebastian Jobs doing some calculations. He says that the actual pit stop would be about 13.4. But yeah, it's 15 seconds. It's 15 seconds too long, isn't it? So it could be a penalty, but it's very, very difficult to ascertain that.
And the pit exit, they're very close to Diogo Oliveira, and he's going to be stuck behind him. So Backham out of the pit stops. It has not been the best of luck, but this time he doesn't have Peter Berryman hounding him for that 4th position, which will be Backham's effective 4th position on the racetrack once everybody makes their pit stops. For Graham Carroll, I spoke about him having clean air. It's worked out perfectly. The leader, 16 seconds away from Yao Vaz, who, if he pits, will be right around 7-8 seconds away from Graham. Graham right now just needs to keep his cool, keep doing what he's doing at the moment, because he is on his way to a round 1 win here, Andrew, and a man that we couldn't expect who was going to win. We didn't know, and at the moment Graham Carroll's emerged.
He has, and he stepped up to the plate, and he's doing extremely well, and I'm very pleased for him at the moment. But again, we've still got 20 laps to go. It's 20 laps on Interlagos. There's still many things that can go wrong, so hopefully not for him. It was definitely Backham was immersed, like I say, around where Oliveira was. Oliveira's very quietly having a good race. He's in 10th place, started 16th. He's just gone about his business, and this could be a big step towards him starting off in a nice way for the World Championship potentially.
Yeah, and a good battle here we'll keep our eyes on between Marin Cholak and Rico Alatalo. Good to see those two guys racing wheel to wheel throughout the series, or throughout the race here today, and we'll surely see it throughout the series over the next 9 rounds. Will Vincent has been covering the Road World Cup. It's been an exciting event, Will, and give us a little bit of a rundown of how it's fared so far.
Yes, welcome you back here to the World Cup of iRacing, also on iRacingLive. It's been a crazy day so far already. Club UK Ireland have asserted themselves as a dominant force in the World Cup. They have been leading in both of the splits ahead of Club France, then Club Central Eastern Europe, and also Club Asia. But Club UK and Ireland look as though they're going to stamp their ticket and get themselves into the final round of the World Cup of iRacing. The question, Johnny, is going to be, are we going to see another team with the high point percentage that we might get from Central Eastern Europe or Club Asia? Or is that going to be a benchmark for second place teams and strategically figuring out what they need to do to get themselves into the World Cup, even if they don't win their own group?
You can see UK and Ireland faring themselves very well out there in the Road World Cup, and for Graham Carroll Hill today, also doing the region proud, could be on his way to a round 1 win in the Pro Series. Stay tuned for all those events. iRacing producing a lot of racing this weekend, and it's great to see many hours of coverage we will provide live and exclusive on RaceSpotTV and iRacingLive. 20 laps remaining in this event, and Yunus Nukarainen has not pitted. He leads Andrew, but most importantly, Yavaz also made his pit stop, and he's only 6 seconds behind Graham Carroll as Nukarainen enters that pit lane.
Yeah, and Javaz has actually done an excellent job in this race from 9th on the grid, and he looks like he's going to get on the podium, and that'll be brilliant. That'll be just what he needs in order to retain his place in the World Championship. Obviously, still a long time to go in this series. We've got another 8 races after this one, but it's a great start for him.
It certainly is. So, looking down the order, Rico Alatalo is the closest battle on the racetrack, right behind Marin Cholak. And Marin, with his incredible real-world racing experience, Riku stepped into a car at Sepang, and I think it was a Formula BMW, was it? I'm not 100% sure, but he fared very well in his first experience out there, and he is a natural-born racer, a guy who steps into every single car and is just incredibly quick. And this is what you get in the Pro Series. Very fast drivers as Berryman makes his way past Diogo Oliveira into turn 4. Actually, no. Oh, yes, he has, actually. So, Peter Berryman set Diogo up for a great pass, and Peter Berryman up into the 14th position. But I speak about that, Andrew. Pure racers out here today. 2 of them, Marin Cholak and Rico Alatalo.
And this is what I was saying, earlier on when we were covering the battle for sort of 26th, 27th place, was all these guys are excellent drivers, and they're all fighting it out throughout the field. It doesn't matter where they are. That's what's made this race so good, is that everything, everyone's fighting out there, and why not? There's a World Championship license at stake. If you're not fighting for this, then what are you going to fight for?
Exactly. This is a very entertaining race so far, and we're going to have a lot of this throughout the season as Marin Cholak pits. For those who are new to the Road Pro Series, the top 15 from Season 1 and 2 of the Grand Prix Series, as well as those who didn't make the top 25 in the World Championship, are fighting, proving their worth here for 9 rounds. The top 25 from this series earn the rest of the World Championship license. Only 50 to distribute for the 2016 season, as battles once again. Tomo Meglek here at turn 6 with Oscar Mangan. Great stuff right now as Oscar Mangan. We've seen him there. He's very brave, not afraid to go side by side into turn 6, 7 and 8. And Oscar Mangan once again defending from Tomo Meglek, who's quietly been out there in the race. He hasn't made his pit stop yet, but he's could be on a 1-stop, looking at his pit stop time of 12.3 seconds.
Meglek has not had a dull race whatsoever. He started 30th, he's up to 11th. But he's had a terrific job. As well, Michael Dinkel has as well. And his qualifying was quite appalling, to be honest, but in the race he's been excellent. He's up to, if his last... Excuse me, sorry. Frog in my throat. The last 10 laps or so, he's been buried in the 12.7s, 12.8s, 12.9s, and a 12.343 on the last lap. That's up there with any of the laps that, say, Berryman was doing earlier on. So, Michael Dinkel, you know, stepped up a gear in this race.
And most importantly for Rico Alatalo, he stepped up a gear in the pit stop phase, and he is up past Marin Kolak. He's jumped him in the pit stops, going one lap longer and making his way through. As Tomo Meglek as well also makes his way past Oscar Mangan. And Meglek, that was only to come as Oscar Mangan made his second pit stop. A little bit heavier fueled as well, so we're expecting Meglek to come into the pit sometime soon. Graham Carroll leads this race. This time, no, most importantly, it's 3.2 seconds, Andrew. It was 6 seconds before. Yarvaz has decreased that gap by right around 50%. This could be an incredible finish with 16 laps remaining.
Could be. If he keeps going at the rate he is, he's going to catch Graham Carroll, but of course, still going to try and make the move at some point. But this is the thing though, Johnny, everybody wants the win here in the first round of the iRacing Road Pro Series, but are you going to risk, like say, a second place to get a win when you know that second's going to be pretty damn good?
Yeah, it's all about points in the end.
Don't need
you just
many
want to get a
results.
top 25 spot. Exactly, so only a
Many
top
good
25
results to
position.
get that.
Well, we saw last year guys like Atsei Kirkov, who only raced a couple of races, but he raced them so well because we know how strong of a driver he is. Still managed to get his license and he missed more than half the rounds. But right now, let's see. I want to see how Marin Kolak fights back on Rico Alatalo. It's the gap's pretty steady between those two. Graham Carroll, though, I think he's had an issue right now. He's lost another half a second to Yarvaz, and I think it could be to do with traffic right now. It's too much time that Graham Carroll's giving up. Yarvaz not hesitant, and he could be on his way here for a win if Graham Carroll doesn't step up the pace.
That's Dimitri Yanis there, who's lapping, so that's another one of the Vortex cars. Having definitely a better race than they had at qualifying. But yeah, not really firing fully, as out comes Hamilton as well. So that's a battle for position, I believe, with those two, with Yanis and Hamilton. Hamilton 3 stopping, and really, like I say, it hasn't worked whatsoever, really. A quick look then. What's the battle out there at the moment? It's probably Danny Garcia Fiol who's actually got ahead of Marin Cholak now. Oh no, he hasn't. Apologies,
no, he
hasn't.
It's, you got me excited there.
That's the wrong
wow.
car. That's the wrong car. I'm sorry about that. They're right next to each other and they've got the same livery. Sorry about that.
That's
but yes, Cholak is making his way through the middle sector. He's only about 1.4 seconds behind Rico Alatalo now.
Yeah,
he's dropping off him.
He's very, very quick. Alatalo is having a strong race. I know he's started 7th. We're expecting him to be a little bit higher than that. But it's still a very good race. He's 25 seconds away from the leader, getting the points that he needs. Marcus Hamilton right now there. He's battling it with around the outside. He's made a move there. Is that on Samuel Clark? It is indeed on Samuel Clark. And Marcus Hamilton up into the 21st position. Great stuff from him. On that 3-stop, he enters this stage of the race. He's going to close in on Paul Williams, who's 10 seconds ahead on the road. He's going to have fresh tyres. As I said here, let's switch our focus to the lead battle, because Yarvaz is taking risks, and it's paying off for him so far. 2.5 seconds the difference between him and Graham Carroll for the lead. Yarvaz could be on his way here to take the lead if Graham Carroll is going to be not going to overthink passing back markers. No, and Zhao Vaz has definitely got the bit between his teeth. He did have a lot of traffic there, so we'll have to see whether he can come through. A couple of guys who we've not even mentioned today actually battling. We mentioned actually Cam Stark earlier on, but Frederick Evers, they're very, very close on the track now. And Evers for Friction Racing, Friction with a good complement of people in this iRacing Road Pro Series, and Stark's round the outside at the top of the hill, and that's very, very difficult to do. Can he keep it through this? Next sector is very, very tight, and Cam Stark just opens the door for himself there. Oh, and there's contact there. I'm not sure what happened, but Stark misjudging the something there. Very, very good battle ahead of them as well. Mangan and Lindsay were side by side. Stark as well, very loose, and that's going to allow Riley Preston a chance here at P15. And look at Cam Stark closing the door. Riley Preston around the outside. I think he needs to tuck back into the slipstream because he's losing straight line speed. He's not going to do that. I think he needs to do it maybe up the inside here, Riley Preston. He doesn't have the straight line speed. Braking battle into turn 1. Stark brakes late and keeps that position. Wonderful racing here with 13 laps remaining. And, whoa, I'm going to take a little bit of a break, but we can't, because Vaz has taken another couple tenths away from Graham Carroll for the lead. The gap there, 2.1 seconds now, as he closes in on the leader.
That was just a strange piece of driving from Cam Stark. I'm not really sure what he was trying to achieve there, and his team management will be on the radio to him saying, "Calm down, fella. You know, you're in 15th place. All is not lost. You know, you're going to score some nice points. You only need top 25." So,
aren't you his team manager?
I'm not the manager, no.
Oh.
So I'm not getting involved. But no, just very odd driving there that time. Benjamin Lindsay, we haven't really mentioned him a lot. He's in 10th place. Got Peter Berryman for company actually now, or very shortly he will have. But he's had a very solid run as well. Johnny, 21st on the grid, and then now 10th place.
Yeah, good stuff from Benjamin Lindsay, and that's experience coming into play. You're going to see drivers with experience make their way up through the field. The examples, Vaz from 9th to 2nd, Benjamin Lindsay, as you mentioned, 21st to 10th, but it hasn't worked out for Michele Mancusi, who started 4th, is now down in 17th on the racetrack. The gap for the lead, 1.7 seconds. 1.6 now between Carroll and Vaz.
Wow.
If Vaz takes the win, this will be very surprising. Everything I did for my Pro Series preview will be scrapped because I didn't expect Vaz to take a win here today, but the underdog is coming through once again. He's led 3 laps out there on the racetrack, 11 laps remaining. Once he gets a little bit of a slipstream, the race is on for that first place.
Yeah, and Antoine Higelin and Sebastian Job in the chat telling Graham to hurry up. He's got 10 laps to go, and thanks as well. There's a lot of the World Championship drivers in the chat watching this race as well, and it's great to see them looking and maybe scouting Johnny, and maybe sort of seeing what and cheering some of their teammates on.
Yeah, this is where you can learn driver tendencies and how drivers react and how they race. Quiet race for Martin van Loosenhoorn, who could be claiming that final podium step in 3rd place. Mac Backham had the lead earlier on. For those who've just joined the event, welcome back. Mac Backham had the lead. Peter Berryman unfortunately outbraked himself into turn 1, took both of them out, sustained a little bit of damage. They both continue on though. Berryman in 11th, Backham in 4th. That handed the lead straight to Graham Carroll, who made his final pit stop. And I have a feeling right now that Graham Carroll maybe accidentally overfueled himself, or we mustn't take it away. We mustn't disrespect Vaz, who may just have the pace in the latter stages, who's closed that gap to 1.3 seconds as they cross the line with 10 laps remaining in this event. So Graham Carroll leads as Vaz makes a little bit of a mistake into turn 1, lost a couple tenths. He's in 2nd place, Martin van Loosenhoorn in 3rd, Mac Backham 4th. Good race from Jonas Nokarainen, his experience in 5th position giving him a great top 5 result. And then it's Rico Alatalo, Marin Cholak, Danny Garcia, Oscar Mangan and Benjamin Lindsay. The rest of the field for you, Peter Berryman in 11th, a few notable names down the order as well. Cam Stark and Riley Preston battling.
Sorry, we've got a cracking battle for 14th place, as you would say. So it's Evers, Stark, Preston and Mancusi's not far away from this as well. So
yeah, well, you tell me, what's more interesting, me rounding out the DNFs in this race, or the fact that we're going to have a 4-wide battle, and which is what I'm really looking forward to right now.
We do need to talk about who has retired, though, but I think we should have a little look at that first.
Yeah, no, we'll do that after the race, because Cam Stark right now, oh wow, this is incredible. Because Riley Preston, as you mentioned as well, Michele Mancusi, so many names, they're all closing in on each other. And this is a battle we're going to have to pay attention to, as well as the fact that Vaz is almost under a second behind Graham Carroll for the lead. 9 laps remaining at this point in the event. So, 2 battles we're going to keep our eyes on. We have 2 eyes, we can keep 1 on each one. I wish we had like 10 of them, but there's so much going on out the racetrack. Here we go in the final stages of the race, Andrew. As a driver, Graham Carroll is leading. Vaz is catching him. What can you do as a driver to defend and keep that lead?
Don't panic. I think is the major ingredient. I mean, there's nothing worse than when you've had a lead of 4 or 5 seconds and it comes down and down and down. And this is the nasty sort of area now where we're about 1 second in front. The guy behind he can smell the slipstream. He might even be getting a little bit of it down the main straight. And Graham Carroll has to stay focused, and so does Vaz as well, because he doesn't want to push too hard, find himself in the fence, and then not get any points from what's been a fantastic drive. So he needs to take advantage of times when people like Mac Backham having a problem, because as well there's still the Pro Series title up for grabs as well for Pride, you know.
Yeah, exactly. So, and talking about title contenders, Peter Berryman there in 11th, looking for a top 10 position, very close to Benjamin Lindsay, 7/10 behind the American. And here we go for, there's lots of, here's Riley Preston, so close to Cam Stark there at turn 10, the slowest corner on the racetrack.
Mancusi's out, he's had a crash. Let's just have a quick look. Oh my goodness, yeah. With he's actually crashed with the back marker Amico, and Mancusi with a huge accident down at turn 4.
Oh, and it looked like there was a little bit of error loose there. It didn't seem like they actually touched and made contact. So
oh no,
a little bit of technical to make play. Yeah, actually it was very, very close. So I think they did actually make contact. They should need to, regardless of whether they made contact or not, as we have side by side battling into turn 1. Is that? No, that's Cam Stark now, right behind Frederick Evers into turn 4, up the inside. No, Evers closes the door and Stark will be stuck behind for another lap. The battle for the lead, Yao Vaz 7/10 behind Graham Carroll. We have to keep our eyes, as we said, on many battles throughout the field here. Frederick Evers just keeping Cam Stark at bay, but Riley Preston's there to put these two under pressure. If they crash or make a mistake, Preston will gain 2 positions, and that will be key and pivotal towards gaining points here in the early stages of the championship.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, I want to have a quick word about Yao Vaz again, is that, you know, he's one of those guys in the World Championship, Johnny, where he just sort of is there. He just sort of does good, solid races pretty much all the time, and I'm quite surprised that he is down in the Pro Series this time, but you know what, he's showing that he's one of the leading contenders here.
And the problem is that if you're going to be stuck behind someone, Graham Carroll has plenty of real-world experience. He spoke about him being nervous at times with iRacing, but if you're going to have somebody who's winning races out there, outside of the simulation racing universe, and Graham Carroll's doing that, he's going to be a tough cookie to break here in the latter stages of this event. So it's key for Graham Carroll. I mean, he's a great driver, great characteristics, and this is just making those World Championship drivers out there watching him battling at the moment quite afraid, I'd say.
Well, coming from Formula Ford, you know, you've got to master both offense and defense, and he's a great defensive driver and also a great overtaker as well. So yeah, he's the kind of person who could spring some surprises if he does get into the WCS. You know, Yao Vaz looks like he's got maybe more pace than he had last season. So yeah, it looks like things are looking up for him. Also, we've got I just saw it as well that Oliveira is only about 0.3 of a second ahead of Michael Dinkel. So Michael Dinkel's had a great drive today. Oliveira's had a good drive as well.
Yeah, good stuff from both those guys, but can Dinkel maybe get inside the top 10? It will be a tough ask with 6 laps remaining. Berryman still stuck behind Benjamin Lindsay at the moment. Yeah, he's got a lot of time to make up, 4.2 seconds between Oliveira and Berryman. But here's Berryman, too far behind on Benjamin Lindsay. Battles down the order, that one we've been watching. Cam Stark very close to Frederick Evers here into turn 4. No, he's too far behind. But yeah, this is a very exciting end to the race.
This might be the time for Yao Vaz now. He's had a great run out of Jun Xiao. He's not close enough for an overtake this time, but he's definitely right in the slipstream. And very late on the brakes into the center S. Beautifully done from him. And now he's going to get the toe. He's lost the car nearly through turn 3. And that's what can happen. You lose concentration for just a moment. And that's the second place was nearly over.
Wow, will that cost Yao Vaz the chance at victory here with 5 laps remaining? A minor spin, much like Alonso in 2012 in the season finale. This time it's dry conditions though in iRacing, and Yao Vaz has an easier task at keeping that car in a straight line. Here we go, trying to build that gap once again to Graham Carroll, and I have a feeling here, Andrew, that Yao may have butchered his attempt, his one and only attempt that he might have had with 1 lap to go to pass Graham Carroll for the lead.
One thing he does need to be careful of as well is now his tyres are only going to be hotter. So it was likely that the spin, I mean, he was on the curb quite a lot through turn 3 there, so trying to get as much advantage as he could. But yeah, you cannot overheat the tyres at Interlagos and then continue to drive like that. So I hope Vaz realises that. I hope he won't throw his second place away, because he's done so well. You know, it's too late now to be throwing it away.
Well, the gap now, he's gained 2/10 since his minor spin, and I don't think it's enough. As you mentioned, tyres may have been ruined. That could have just butchered us a good finish. We'll keep our eyes on that as always. So for João Vaz, he's creeping in. He hasn't lost time. He's pushing, and if he crashes or maybe loses time, as Oscar Mangan has a little bit of a half spin and he's lost a couple of positions here, and it was at turn 11, Andrew, that corner I spoke about, so easy to lose the rear end and it kills you as a driver. Now Mangan is outside of the top 10 and he is not going to get that top 10 result that he needed to build confidence for the rest of the season.
He did save the car quite well though. He didn't allow it to go fully round and lose himself more time. Michael Dinkel right with Oliveira now. Could even have a go into turn 4. He has a look, but a look is all he has.
Yeah, so Michael Dinkel, he's been an incredible race. We mustn't take it away from him. 35th to 13th, up 22 positions. Benjamin Lindsay, from 21st to 9th position, right in front of Peter Berryman, who hasn't had the best of races. Started 3rd, now in 10th, has been everywhere and anywhere, and he's just got to keep it together to get some points. João Vaz
exactly
right
that,
now
mate. Keep it
behind
together. That's
Graham
all you
Carroll.
have to do. Sorry, yeah.
João Vaz. João Vaz, 8/10 behind Graham Carroll. This is where, with 3 laps remaining, what can he do at this stage, Andrew? Look at that. He's pushing too hard, in my opinion.
Oh, has he gone over the...
And now he's losing time.
Yeah, he's getting a bit scruffy, isn't he? I mean, for me, you know, and I'd be saying this about Graham if he was in that position as well. You may have to see the big picture here, see those beautiful points that you're going to get. When I was speaking to Alex Simpson earlier on in the week, and who is the team manager for Apex, and he was saying that when he qualified from the Pro Series, he only had about 3 top 10 finishes, and he got the points he needed. So João Vaz has that in front of him. Debatable whether you want to go throwing that away, as Paul Williams is actually making life a real struggle for the leaders here. And he's actually going to allow João Vaz to get very, very close, and this could be what the Portuguese driver needs.
Yeah, look at this right now. Graham Carroll, he lets him through, so... he's not going to let through João Vaz.
That's really stupid.
Huge incident! And, miscommunication, that's going to cost João Vaz 2nd place. He's got suspension damage. And João Vaz is going to be out of this race. 2 laps remaining. All he needed to do was keep it together. And he's just butchered a great race result. João Vaz, with suspension damage, is going to have to trundle his way through the infield section. Hopefully not into...
At least he can finish the race, it looks like. So... Oh, but that was the most stupid bit of driving I think I've seen in a long time from a back marker. First blocking Graham Carroll, and then second he ends up taking out João Vaz.
It could be a little bit of a frustrating race for Paul Williams, but in the end, João Vaz right now is in 5th position, and he's not going to finish this race high up.
I mean, I might be being a little harsh there, I don't know, but let's have a look. He goes out to the inside of the track and he just sort of dawdles into the middle of the road at half speed.
Oh wow, but final lap for Graham Carroll here, Andrew, and Graham Carroll though, we'll talk about the Vaz incident after.
Sorry, João Vaz is having all sorts of trouble even getting it round the track. He can't turn left, which at Interlagos is the worst possible thing. Yeah, he's okay through the right-handers, just he can't turn left.
Oh no.
And he's trundling along. That's Oliveira that's gone through. Dinkel. Oh dear, dear. I mean, he's going to finish what 18th, isn't he?
Yeah, he's going to finish down the order. Here's Graham Carroll though. Turn 10. Only a few more corners to go. It's been an incredible race. The man from the UK proving his worth for the Apex Racing UK team, and he will take the win here for round 1 of the Pro Series. Incredible stuff. He's gone through pressure in the latter stages, past Backham and Peter Berryman after their incident. But for Graham Carroll, who will cross the line, it'll be a round 1 win at Interlagos and a round 1 win for Apex Racing UK. Graham Carroll takes the win. Absolutely delighted with this race. Followed by his teammate, a 1-2 finish for Apex Racing UK as Martin van Loozenhoorn takes second place. Who would have thought Mac Backham, after his eventful race, would take the final step of the podium? And Radicals Online in third and fourth, with Jonas Nokarainen coming across the line in fourth position. Riku Alatalo, a great result for Glacier Racing in fifth. And Marin Cholak, his first Pro Series race, comes home in sixth. Danny Garcia for Iberica in seventh. So Iberica in sixth and seventh. They're good stuff from then. Benjamin Lindsay has had an impressive race. He has really impressed here today in eighth position. Peter Berryman comes home in ninth. We've seen better stuff from him, and we'll see it over the next few rounds. Count on that, and I'll guarantee it. And he will guarantee it himself. He'll bounce back strong. And what a result for the young Oscar Mangan, who takes a top 10 finish here in the Pro Series. Great stuff from him. Michael Dinkel as well, from 35th to 11th. Behind him, Frederick Evers, who finished in 13th, who's 27th to 13th. Splitting him is Diego Oliveira. But Michael Dinkel here, Andrew, incredible race. Most importantly, though, Graham Carroll lights the flag. A great victory.
Yeah, Michael Dinkel's put himself in a good position now for the remainder of this Pro Series season. Yeah, what a race from Graham Carroll. I mean, fifth place to first. He would have had a lot of pressure from João Vaz, but it wasn't to be, unfortunately, and Vaz must be so disappointed. But that was just, you know, we were saying that earlier on. You have to finish the race, and it wasn't his fault. I've got to say, it wasn't his fault that he didn't finish the race, but you know, it's racing, isn't it? Sometimes things are just out of your control.
Sometimes, yeah. Well, back markers there. I know Vaz was going for the lead. Sometimes you need to be a little bit more patient. Yeah, he knows that he doesn't want to risk an incident. Whether it's your fault or not, if you're in an incident and it's out of your race, you can't change that, even if it's not your fault. So for João Vaz, unfortunately, he's down in P20, and he's going to have nothing to show for his strong race. It could have ended up with a win, pushing so hard in the latter stages. But we'll finally look at the race results as drivers enter the pit lane. It has been an incredible race here. Graham Carroll for Apex Racing UK takes the win in round one. An incredible race, lights the flag, a great victory. 45 laps led on his way to that top step of the podium. Martin van Loozenhoorn, quiet race from him, but he completes the 1-2 for Apex Racing UK in second position. Finishing the podium is Mac Backham, ahead of his Radicals Online teammate of Jonas Nokarainen. It's Riku Alatalo who comes home in 5th position. Marin Kolak and Danny Garcia for Lowell for Iberica Racing in 6th and 7th. Then Benjamin Lindsay in 8th. Great race from him. Peter Berryman in 9th will bounce back from his poor performance here today. And then Oscar Mangan in 10th. Delightful result for the young gun. Michael Dinkel showing experience counts in the Pro Series from 35th to 11th. Great race from him. Diego Oliveira in 12th. Good stuff. Frederick Evers as well in 13th, up 14th positions from 27th. Cam Stark, a strong result in 14th. And then down the order, Tomo Meglek, Riley Preston and Christian Tanahote, the final drivers on the lead lap. Then it was João Vaz, a man, first man who was lapped, who should and could have won this race, butchered it all in the latter stages. Behind him it was two very strong drivers in Marcus Hamilton and Paul Williams. Well, very interesting to see them down the field. We'll surely see them battling for wins throughout the season. Then the rest of the field, Samuel Clark, Dimitri Yanis, Emil Henriksen, Tim Bertie, Fulvio Barabizini, and then Vincenzo Amico. The DNFs for you, Michele Mancusi after his spin, Vedran Kroll, Pablo Lopez as well had a few spins, Kevin Siki got caught up in a couple of incidents, and then 3 Japanese drivers, Yuto Saito, who started second, unfortunately DNF from the race 4 laps into the event. Yuho Abe and Kazuki Umeshima also with DNFs, and then Miguel Martin and Jorge Montañez round out the 35 car field. It's been an incredible event. We'll take a step aside here on RaceSpotTV and iRacingLive. Do not leave us. Post-race coverage coming up. What an incredible race to start off the season. You're watching the 2015 iRacing.com Road Pro Series of iRacing.
the outside, contact made. 56 slides it into 4. Who's going to be into the stripe? Dead even, give it to Ryan Truex. Truex is your winner over Tandy.
The 2015 iRacing.com Road Pro Series returns. Round 1 has concluded. What a cracking race we have on our hands, and it's all going to continue for another 9 rounds this season. Next week at Montreal, the final round at the Nürburgring later on the 23rd of January 2016. But for now, post-race coverage begins, and we're going to start off with Mr. Graham Carroll, who begins the season with a race win. And Graham, you talk about confidence heading into the rest of the season. Taking a race win has to be delightful.
Oh, that's just the perfect way to start the season, you know. Came in here looking for a good result and just a strong finish, and to come out in the top step of the podium is absolutely fantastic.
In the latter stages with the Alvaz hot in your tail, were you over-fueled? Did you carry maybe too much fuel off your last pit stop? Or were you just off the pace? Or were you just, maybe, doing the Kimi Raikkonen and just coasting around?
Well, let him close up into the back of me, He still needs to get by, he still needs to hit the wall of dirty air, and, if I had a wee spin, at that long left-hander downhill or something, I would have absolutely hated it and been absolutely gutted with that. So I was just playing the cautious thing, and if he got up to the back of me, we could have a wee ding-dong and a wee race sort of thing, but he got within half a second and then had a wee moment coming out of turn 2, and it was, again, I could have went quicker, we were a wee bit heavy on fuel, but we were just playing the safe game today, to be fair.
And finally, race win, did you think, starting from 5th on the grid, you would be in this position come the end of the race? Because obviously after Mac and Peter collected each other, in 3rd position, did you expect yourself to be leading 45 laps out there and take the race win? Because, yes, you do believe in yourself, you have the pace, but at the same time, you've got a strong field of drivers around you trying to fight for the same race win.
Oh, when I seen the list of drivers, I was actually meant to maybe go away next weekend and have a weekend away, but after seeing the lineup of drivers in this championship, I'm just going to stay at home and compete sort of thing. But no, it's just absolutely, one wee mistake can cost you so much. And when I seen Peter go into the back of Mac, and I had Alex Simpson, thank you very much as well, Alex, for spotting for me, had him spotting, and once they two collided, it was just a matter of head down, no mistakes, and it was nerve-wracking.
Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Delightful Graham Carroll to take the win. And Andrew, you're sitting alongside Martin Van Loosdorf. Do you have something to say before that?
Yeah, I was just going to ask Graham, actually, did you think you had the pace to actually get past Peter and Mac, or what were you thinking?
Again, that's what Pete was saying after the race just there, I was really struggling sitting behind Pete and Mac in the dirty air, so I knew just to back off a bit. It's a 71 lap race. There's so many things have happened in our wee practice races, and play the long game. To be fair, who knows? To be fair, I knew I could go quicker sitting behind Mac and Pete, and they were holding me up at one point, and they pulled away at one point, and I brung them back in. So who knows, sort of thing. But nah, it was just an awesome race to be a part of, you know.
All right, mate, well done. Yeah, I am standing by with Martin van Loosenoord. Martin, welcome.
Hello, hello.
Hello. Good race from yourself. I think that'll be a dream start for the Road Pro Series for you. 3rd place.
Yeah, could have been any better. Yeah, of course, finishing 1 is better, but second place is good for me. It was perfect.
When you, as Johnny was alluding to earlier on, when you saw the list of drivers, did you expect that you'd be up near the front, or do you think it was going to be a bit harder than that?
Well, I've practiced a lot with the whole Apex community, and in the practice sessions I was straight up to pace, so I was a bit confident about that. But then in the race I struggled a lot with my race pace, and the nerves, they were just killing me a little bit in the beginning, and then in the middle of the race I just got my confidence back and could have stick to Jouw Vaas's back. But then in the third stint, I was just struggling again and trying to bring the car back home safe. So
the mood in the team must be pretty good after that. You've got obviously Graham himself, and you've got also a good result for Oscar, good result for Cam. Martin, where do you see the team heading from here in this series?
How do I see the team from here? Well,
how do you see the season going from now?
I hope good. I don't expect anything, because this is just the first race, and maybe next race people will practice more or being a bit more cautious. I don't know what happened to all the people, but I saw a lot of guys leaving the race. So maybe I don't know, it will be more exciting because there are a lot of other guys just with the same pace. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm not sure. I think we will. I don't know. I just don't know. I'm not going to say anything.
Well done for yourself for this race, and we'll catch you next week.
Thank you.
Johnny Simon is with Mac Backham.
I am with the beast, Mac Backham. Mac, first of all, I'm going to talk about your incident with Peter. I want to hear from you if you did feel you had damage from the rear end of your car, because that was a pretty wicked incident, and it was pretty hard as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if your Radicals Online car had a little bit of damage there.
I don't think it had a lot of damage, really. It looked really weird on my screen where I really thought my race would be over, and car felt straight, and no weird wheel damage or anything. And then the only thing I really sort of noticed was that it was a little oversteery coming out of slow corners, but I don't think it slowed me down that much anyway. So no real harm done apart from the seconds lost in the crash.
2 questions in one. This will be something I'm going to try out for the first and only time in my life. Will be, first of all, the mood in the Radicals Online camp, because you guys have still achieved a 3rd and 4th place here, with Jonas as well in 4th position, as well as the fact that, did you think you would be able to achieve this kind of result after that incident, and the fact that, I mean, what is the mood personally with yourself after the incident, and what's the mood after the end of the race when you achieve the 3rd and 4th places?
I think the mood in the team is overall pretty good. I mean, Jonas had a nice finish too. Just a few other people on Radicals were quite unlucky today, but in the end everyone still got in with qualifying, so that's a good sign. And for me personally, I am, I don't know, my mood hasn't changed at all before the race or now.
And finally, going into the future rounds, are you going to be attacking all out to win this championship, or are you just out here just to get that top 25 position?
No, I'm definitely here only for the top 25 for what I see now. I mean, I was very surprised actually to get pole today, because my practice I haven't done a lot of practice this week, and normally I'm a guy who practices a lot for every race, so I wasn't really expecting to be competitive at all. So I am happy with 3rd place, and I already know I'm gonna have to miss 1 or 2 rounds, so I'm just going for the top 25, and whenever I feel safe I'll just stop driving.
Thanks very much, Mac Backham, who had such an eventful race and still manages to get a podium out of it. Your pole sitter finishes in 3rd position, 15.762 seconds away from the leader. Andrew Woodhouse is alongside Jonas Nukarainen, the second Radicals Online car, to finish in 4th position. Take it away, Andrew.
Hey, Jonas, hello.
Hello.
Hello. You started 8th, finished 4th. That must be great for you. You must be really happy.
Yeah, I definitely happy for today's performance. The car was really great, and I just kept solid and consistent race pace. And yeah, today top 5. Really happy to go towards Montreal next week.
How did you find the conditions out there? Because it was very warm. Was there a problem in the middle sector, for instance, keeping the tyre temperatures down?
No, not really. It was actually better weather conditions than we practiced throughout the week. So yeah, since we practiced with warm and clear weather, partly cloudy was fantastic, and the car was working really well.
You finished ahead of some very good drivers as well. You know, likes of Rico Alatalo and Marin Cholak, people like that. It must give you confidence for the remainder of the season.
Yeah, sure. It's of course nice to see where we are. Mac, of course, podium, and myself, and just that's pretty much the focus. And I don't really check what other people are doing behind me, and they just they can pass me if they want in the points. But yeah.
You mentioned you're going to. Oh, sorry. Go on.
Yeah, Riku, of course, my friend. Nice to see him finishing, but then the other side, of course, it's sad that the teammates of Kazuki and Miguel had to retire the race. But yeah, next week new race.
Yeah, it was a poor race for them. I think one they'll want to forget. You mentioned we're going to Montreal soon for the next race. What are your thoughts about that track? Because I mean, I love that one. It's like this one for me. It's a favourite. But how are you going to approach that Canadian circuit?
Me too. I like it. It's kind of like Monaco of iRacing, and it's always had a great races there. And yeah, I'm excited to go there and see what we can do with Radicals.
Well, if the race is anything like this one was today, I think it's going to be a fantastic one for us. Thanks, Jonas Nukarina, for joining us in the commentary box. Back to you, Johnny.
Yeah, unfortunately, we have our last interview of the day, and that is with Riku Alatalo, however you want to pronounce it. It's actually Alatalo, but to take the... I can't say that. To have fun is with Alatalo. Anyway, Riku, this race, 5th position, you started in 7th. You were hoping for a little bit of a better start off the line, but you maintained that 7th position. You didn't lose anything. Could you maybe work on your starts in the future to gain early positions?
Well, the Interlagos line, because it's uphill, it's one of the harder places to start, and I didn't quite use the clutch properly, and I got a pretty decent start. Like only Joao Vaz got a better start from behind me, so that was pretty good. But I need to improve on my qualifying. I missed an easy pole by taking the last 2 sectors way too easy qualifying, so I need to work on that.
For the rest of the season, you're going to be putting in the effort to maybe at least take 1 or a couple of race wins just to give yourself a little bit of a boost in confidence.
Hopefully so. I want some of those camera dollars, so we'll see if I can manage that. Yeah, and then, well, it does very well for motivation to have the 2 of the worst tracks that I like for me in the first 2 races of the season. So, like, Interlagos is probably my second worst, and then Montreal is, I'm just absolutely terrible there. Like, no matter how much I practice, I'm probably a second off pace, so that sucks.
Well, you just stole my next question, which was going to be, how are you going to go at Interlagos? Obviously, it's not going to be as best as you hope, but what is it about that track you dislike a little bit, or are not as good as you hope to be?
I don't know, it's just, with the chicanes, it seems like a bit random, I want to say, like how it goes, like, whenever I drive, like especially the chicane before the hairpin, it just feels completely lottery. Like if you're gonna hit it nicely, or if it's gonna bounce all over the place and into the wall. So I don't know. Hopefully back when it's gonna have motivation to build some setup that I can maybe try and practice on. Because I'm lacking kind of motivation to practice for Montreal. But hopefully I'll do well on the other courses. And seeing that I got 5th here, and considering that I was actually pretty much almost the fastest guy on the track at the last stint when I had all my damage fixed. So that looks promising for the future.
Yeah, I think he did set fastest lap of the race with a 1 minute 12.189. So I'll give you that award. Congrats. Ricky Alatalo there, a top 5 result. Great result to start the season and obtain that 2016 World Championship license. He speaks as well, Andrew, about the upcoming races for this season. Montreal in round 2 in 7 days' time. We head to Silverstone, Suzuka, Circuit of the Americas, and Watkins Glen in this car is always an entertaining race. Then we have Spa, Monza, Nürburgring. It's like an all-star lineup of racetracks here. We have classic race circuits as well as brand new ones out here today. You know, just it's going to produce entertaining racing throughout the season.
Yeah, I think so. And this was an outstanding example of what the Pro Series is all about. It's these guys really trying hard to get into the World Championship or to stay in the World Championship. And to be honest, that was one of the best iRacing F1 races I think I've seen in a long time. Maybe the best.
Raise my glass to that of water, because I have to drink water as a commentator.
Too.
But yeah, and in 7 days' time, we are at Montreal, as Riku said. That will be on the 14th of November. That will be at 1:30 GMT, 1:30 PM GMT. Do not miss it. 70 laps around the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. It's going to be an incredible race in this Williams FW31. Produced incredible racing today. Finally, Andrew, I'm going to maybe do this for once. I don't like to do it all the time, but driver of the day today, we have to give it to somebody. And if I'm going to give it to someone out there, I'm going to have to say Graham Carroll, because he's come out there, he's kept his race clean, and he's won the race in the end.
Yeah, I mean, I find it hard to argue with that, to be honest. I do think the other contender could be Michael Dinkel, because, I mean, he made up a lot of places. Yeah, okay, some were down to retirements, of course, we understand that, but still, 11th from 35th on the grid, it puts him in a nice position.
The only reason I wouldn't give it to Michael Dinkel is the fact that if I'm giving driver of the day, I'm going to give it for qualifying as well, because that takes place on the same day. So I don't know if I'd give Dinkel that. And don't forget, if he was a couple tenths off, he wouldn't have even made the grid for today's race. Because remember, only 35 drivers can make the actual grid. But nevertheless,
there's 50 competitors in this series as well. We need to actually tell everybody that. The 15 guys who didn't even make this race, so they'll be having to work on their qualifying, Johnny.
Certainly so. It's going to be an incredible race in 7 days' time, as I mentioned, at 1:30 PM GMT for 70 laps of racing at Montreal. Do not miss it. We'll be back here again. Wonderful cameraman Hugo Luis will be broadcasting for us from Johnny Simon in the commentary booth and Andrew Woodhouse. It is the iRacing.com World Road Pro Series of iRacing in 2015 on RaceSpotTV and iRacingLive. Do not leave us. See you in 7 weeks' time for what should be 7 days' time. Completely butchered this ending for what should be another incredible race. Bye bye for now.